Browns fans, are you ready to take your fandom on the road? Join True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns, and travel with other Browns fans like never before. Everything is taken care of. Flights, hotels, tailgate, game tickets, transportation, food, drinks, everything that's important to Browns fans. Each trip will also include an exclusive meet and greet with former Browns players. Visit TrueFanTravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package.
It's time for the Burning River Sportscast. With each passing day, we grow closer to the head-banging, body-smashing, nut-crunching action and speed and elegance that is showcased during the NFL season. But alas, we must finish the preseason and training camp first. There are plenty of position battles underway, injuries piling up, and roster moves being made as NFL teams prepare for the 2024 campaign. And we're here to mix it up, talk a little preseason, grab a couple interviews, and be literal stooges for your entertainment for the next 2 hours. And you know, we'll break it all down for you next on the Burning River Sportscast.
Do you think they'll put Nick Cage on the cover of Madden?
Now that would be cool.
Yeah.
And then Nick Cage tears his ACL.
Yeah.
He's gonna get the curse.
He's got the Madden curse, baby. I don't get it.
In
I don't get
Seattle.
it. I don't get it. I digress, though. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Like, we got made to look like scrubs by, like, literal scrubs.
Guys that you never heard of.
The garbage man. What are we doing?
I don't know.
Like, I'm concerned that there's no fight in this team, just at this point in training camp.
That's fair. But my next note here is that it's preseason. We're not going to overreact about anything.
No, I'm overreacting.
As far as how the team
I'm
is playing.
pissed off. This team needs to do something.
I'm already in the dumpster.
Like, I wonder if they're going to do more of a feels
Immersive.
like you're like an immersive type thing up there with the primate exhibits as well.
What, like, you want to be a primate?
I don't know who you are or what butthole you crawled out of, but this is my woman and our baby, and every night he gets swaddled in the tightest of pants.
Nah, the meatloaf!
I'm driving Dodge Stratus!
I promised Jesus himself I would dropkick that man if I ever met him. And now I said publicly that had he got us to the Super Bowl, I would have had his face tattooed on my rear end.
I love the idea that the Brown Stadium is Madden Generic Stadium 3.
You know, it's funny. I had never ever thought to describe it that way, but that's exactly what it is. It's like you go through Generic Stadium 3, Generic Stadium 4. Like that's what it is.
And these are guys that are on the radio every day, local in Cleveland.
You guys are pieces of crap.
If you were equivalating marriage to a football game, I'll say it one more time. You were a real shit human being. Welcome into the Burning River Sportscast, presented by the fine folks at Tappan Media. I'm Kenny Thunder. As always, seated beside key contributor to the American Bestiality Super PAC, Sexy Beasts. He loves animals. He's Red Hot Ronnie Jams. I heard they were trying to run an Australian zoo-bred giraffe named Lamar in this year's election. Can you confirm?
Yes.
Nice. The Bone Man is back, fresh off his life-saving engagements, restoring power to the greater Cleveland area after storms ripped through over the last couple of weeks.
Single-handedly.
Bone, good to have you back. Do you ever get a God complex doing the things you do? Like, you're like, let there be light. And there was light.
Yeah, so when I plug in the fuse, yeah, I always like to be that guy. And then the lights turn on and everybody cheers.
The whole city goes wild.
And then I just give a big, like, whoa, like down the street. I try not to be too loud, but I'm usually much louder than that.
Nice. I did have another question, actually, since you weren't here last week, since you were out, being a hero and all. After a multi-year sonar study, it was determined that there's a buttload of water trapped under Mars. So, should we send a team of oil core drillers a la Armageddon to Mars to have them access the newly discovered reservoirs of water trapped 7 to 12 miles under the surface that, when released, will cover the entirety of everything on the planet less than a mile high?
Really? And it's liquid?
Oh yeah.
That's what they said?
Oh yeah.
It's water.
Water.
Not just liquid, water.
Actual
Wouldn't
water.
it just freeze when it hits the surface?
Nah, that's how we start terraforming.
I say
There's
do
a
it.
lot of it.
Yeah, I think we
It'll cover
should.
the entire planet.
We
He says
should do it.
Talk about a god complex. He's starting to make a new planet.
Back to Red Hot. Where can our listeners find the dopest dope they ever heard on a podcast, as well as the unofficial podcast of Cleveland Browns backers everywhere?
The official podcast of some Cleveland Browns backers, some
Yes.
places.
Yes, we're growing.
We are growing.
Exit Realty is growing.
You
Not a
can,
sponsor.
you can find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Castro, Good Pods, and so many more. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, the only place that you can find our video podcast. And check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Our handle for all those socials is at Burning River Sportscast. And we are on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, with the handle at Burning River Pod. And while you're at it, check out our merch, www.thetapidmedia.com/shop. Just added a whole shit ton of new stuff to that shop, including, hang on.
Finally getting a package reveal.
Rip that thing open. Haktua.
Damn.
Bone.
Whoa. No way.
Is this one big man approved?
Probably whichever one's heavier.
You kidding me? You guys are the
Kenson.
greatest.
And me.
Look at this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to open it with my finger fingers.
We're doing it. So, look at there. Our very own river merch.
Dope.
Burning River merch.
Dope.
Those are nice shirts.
High quality stuff.
100% cotton as well. I like that.
High quality stuff. So,
This is sick.
as soon as we have a break here, I'm gonna change into this shirt.
And we got the Burning River secondary logo on the back.
Of course.
The water droplets on fire.
Hell yes. So that's in the shop. We also have Dustin is greater than Justin shirts because everybody knows Dustin Hopkins is far superior to Justin Tucker.
So much better.
And then what else do we put in there? We got some Brook Park gear.
Brook Park gear.
I know everybody's so turned up and wants to argue about if they're Cleveland or Brook Park, if they moved to Brook Park. So we just went ahead and made some Brook Park gear.
For the new dome location.
Yep. And so there's some different variations of the river gear as well. Some of it says Cleveland football, some of it doesn't. Pretty dope shit.
Dude, I've been wanting River shirts so bad since we announced River.
Well, now we have one.
Now I have one.
Now you have one.
I am stoked.
All right. And so today on the show, this is what you can look forward to. We're going to do a recap of the second preseason game. There's a lot more injury news, potential free agent fines to help with those injuries, serious trouble for a Browns rookie standout, more stadium talk. Myles Garrett takes kids to the museum, multiple interviews. Or one.
Maybe just one.
Maybe just one.
Yeah.
This show is jam-packed, and the season hasn't even started yet. So lace up those shoes and get ready for this marathon because we're sprinting the entire way right here on the Burning River Sportscast. Now let's get things started with the Burning River News Story of the Week. All right, so guys, this is big. Maybe not as big as the River shirts.
How big?
It's big.
Oh.
It's big. The one and only Nicolas Cage. Yeah, that Nicolas Cage.
It's been in a lot of movies.
Has been...
Con Air, Nicolas Cage?
Yes, Con Air Nicolas Cage.
Nice.
Put down the bunny. Yeah, that Nicolas Cage has been signed to play John Madden in an upcoming... Do you say bio? Like, how do you say that? Biopic?
Biopic.
Biopic. That's what I've heard that
Is it
too.
biopic?
I think it's biopic.
I think it's
Biopic.
Biopic.
But anyways-
Sounds like a biopsy.
Yeah. Anyways, Nick
Looking for
Cage is
Nick
going to play
Cage's
John
cancer.
Madden. So now I know there are a lot of people that may be saying Nicolas Cage really.
Is he going to put on a weight, or is he just going to wear a fat suit?
I don't know.
Huh.
I'm not a producer of this movie, but anyways, I for one love this. I know Nick Cage. He's a little bit out there. He's kind of an overactor, a la Jim Carrey, but not quite as good as Jim Carrey, but still legendary in his own right. I think this is great. What do you guys think about Nick Cage being John Madden?
I've never watched a movie with Nick Cage afterward and been like disappointed. Like even like he makes like some B movies that like went straight to streaming and stuff.
The only one
was
that I
kinda
would
like-
say was probably that way is like Ghost Rider. Was pretty bad.
Even Ghost
It is,
Rider though,
yeah.
look, Ghost Rider's old.
Ghost Rider is funny though because he puts his own Nicolas Cage spin on it, so it's just like
And I think if Ghost Rider was made today, it would look a lot better.
true. That's
So
true.
That was part of the cheesiness of Ghost Rider.
It was the early days of Marvel or whatever it is when the CGI wasn't as good. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I blame them more on the technology than on Nick Cage himself. But like, I've never been like, I pretty much enjoy everything Nick Cage is in.
Face Off.
Face Off.
Face Off's my
Yeah,
favorite.
Wanna take your
great
face.
movie. I just like when they
So perfect.
put their hands over their kids' faces. Like
Yes.
it's just weird part of the movie. I don't know why they did that.
My favorite Nick Cage meme of all time is the one where it's like it shows him by year every year, and it's like it's supposed to show that he hasn't aged, but then they randomly throw in the one the year Face Off was made, and it's John Travolta's face.
Yes, yeah, it's the best.
That's my
you gotta
favorite
be a
meme.
keen Nick Cage fan to really get it. Most people go like, "Why is Travolta in here?"
Yeah,
Travolta.
yeah, that's one of the best memes.
Yeah. Face Off's one of the good ones. Of
That's
all
a good
time.
one. That is solid.
And in fact, like I watched it recently, and it still holds up for the most part.
John Travolta was that just the performances by both those guys was so unhinged and underrated in that movie. And it's kind of like Twisters that we talked about last week. You know, it's just a fun movie. It's there's the science is a little questionable, but
I don't watch every movie to be blown away.
No.
Right? It's like you watch like movies.
Sometimes
like
you just wanna have a good time.
Oppenheimer, or like some of these that are Academy Award. Like okay, you expect to be blown away in some way. But I'm just watching just to entertain myself, like mindless entertainment. And most Nick Cage movies, I feel like
that's what it is.
Fit that bill.
Yeah. National Treasure, the whole series. It doesn't matter which one. The whole series.
I really want to know what's on page 47.
Yeah,
we all do. To make National Treasure 3.
They made a National Treasure series on Disney Plus. Doesn't have Nick Cage in it, so not as good.
No, not as good.
I feel like they may talk about what happens on page 47.
Not to mention, great cast in that movie because you had Justin Bartha from Hangover.
Yeah,
I can't think of the girl's name, but she was Helena Troy, like beautiful actress.
Yeah,
just and the FBI guy. I mean,
the FBI guy.
Great cast.
Yeah,
great cast.
Yeah, all good.
All
President.
Right. Well, hey, back to
he was good too. With President Book of Presidents.
Yeah.
Back to Nick Cage being John Madden. I kind of liked your point about him putting on. Is he going to put on weight or is he going to wear a suit?
I feel like Nick Cage is one of those
I've never seen him big before.
That might put on.
I'm wondering if it might be a combination because Nick Cage is so skinny. And so for him to put on that much weight is kind of drastic.
Although, didn't Kevin James play Sean Payton in a movie and he was just basically Kevin James?
He did.
That's a good point.
He literally is just Kevin James. Which Kevin James doesn't look anything like Sean Payton.
Is this a Netflix movie or is this something?
I don't know. I didn't catch which studio is producing it or anything. I just saw the story come across real quick and I was like, no way. We got to talk about this because this is good.
I'm actually surprised.
It's actually a news story of the week that's football related.
Because there's a lot of actors that have been having a hard time. Like I've seen actors that, like straight actors, that are going to play gay roles, and like the crowd kind of comes like you shouldn't be able to play. They're like, well, I'm an actor. Like that's the whole point. It's like I'm acting like somebody else.
Yeah.
But hopefully he doesn't get like the big bodied people come after him. Like
hey, you tried to come after me for that once.
You can't play a big bodied guy.
One time you told me I was going to get canceled because I made a joke about you.
That's what I'm saying. Those people are out there with the pitchforks, man.
Yeah. I'm not getting canceled. You can't cancel me.
Hopefully they don't cancel
You can't cancel me.
I can cancel you anytime I want.
Just shut your mouth.
He's like, I do the editing.
Yeah. You're just coming off stupid.
I just take Ronnie out of the whole. It's an empty seat.
It'd be just AI. Did you see the AI thing this week come out with Donald Trump and the dude from the Guardians? He's like, I don't know who this guy is. If you guys have seen this guy from the Guardians, but they call him Big Christmas. And, yeah, it was great. But anyways, that's what you do to me,
dude. The AI stuff's getting really scary because, especially in the political realm, because you can't tell what's real and fake anymore.
Nope. Just check the mouth. And check the mouth, the armpits. There's a couple different parts of the body that the AI can't seem to get right.
Sure. Sometimes there's like an extra foot on people, but the ones that are done really well, like you're like, oh, I mean, I could see Donald Trump saying that. Like,
if they ever have their like arms exposed, check the armpits because it's a funny thing. But like AI puts like 47 folds in your armpit.
I got a lot of folds in mine.
Well, you're a big guy. Nobody would ever know. They'd be like, that's natural. But anyways, I don't know how we got there from Nick Cage playing John Madden, other than I'm excited about Nick Cage playing John Madden.
Look, I buy Madden every year, regardless when it comes out, so I'll probably buy this too.
Do you think they'll put Nick Cage on the cover of Madden?
Now, that would be cool.
Yeah.
And then Nick Cage tears his ACL?
Yeah.
He's going to get the curse.
He's got the Madden curse, baby. All right, but with that, let's get into the Burning River Rundown. All right, so let's start with the Browns preseason week 2 recap. Obviously, they played the Vikings. Here's the deal. I just got to ask, like, serious question for both of you. Is it just me, or are preseason games getting harder and harder to watch? Like, it was awful.
These 2 games have been the most boring games of my life.
I was so excited for football, and then even though it was preseason, and I was like, well, at least I get to watch football. And I'm watching, I'm like, I don't want to watch this.
I'm trying to figure out, like, is it just because like most of our marquee guys just aren't playing? Like, maybe that's part of it.
Maybe.
Like, you're watching a bunch of backups that are competing for roster spots. My whole problem is that even in years past, when you're watching the backups, those guys tend to look inspired. This team of reserves for the Browns has not jumped out to me like, I want a spot on this team. They just kind of are there.
Well, like, and I don't know what to blame that on. Is that just like by design? Like, the coaches are like, these are practices for us, or is that more of a result of possibly there being 17 games now, and they're like, listen, we literally don't care about the preseason anymore? But to me, like, even in both those scenarios, to your point, you have guys that are fighting for a roster spot, and it looks like nobody's fighting.
How many people that are out there playing are like, I'm not making the team?
Well,
just because our team is fairly stacked.
Honestly, it just feels like they all are like playing
Yeah.
like that. They're like, I'm here for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm off to Cabo or wherever. Like,
I might make it to the practice squad or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is.
But I would even put like the quarterbacks on blast here. Like DTR throws an interception like deep in the red zone. That was off the hands of a receiver. But again, receiver.
I will say somebody who made a play. I'll give this shout out because I saw it. That was screaming to me, I want to make this team, was Tyler Huntley. He threw an interception and he hawked the guy down at the end, like towards.
The same thing though. It was a red zone interception, and he just airmailed that ball.
I understand.
That's not a quarterback that's been to the Pro Bowl and started like 15 games.
I understand, but he made a mistake, and instead of just like most of what we've seen, the uninspired play during the game, he got up and said. Not only did he get up, his helmet got knocked off when he got hit on that play, and he still picked his helmet up and ran the guy down.
He also knocked out the left tackle that was chasing him down too and injured him, so that was good.
See, he went all out.
And then he threw another interception later in the game.
That's fair. I didn't say he played well. I said he showed some heart.
He showed heart one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, especially these running backs and receivers, man. I've been looking for one of these guys to step up and just look. I mean, what did Foreman average? 1.8 yards a carry for?
He did have 5 catches for 46 yards.
He did catch, but that's not even his. He's not even known to be a pass catcher.
No, I actually have this in there. As that was like very surprising.
I mean, great if he can be that guy, but like he hasn't been known. That's not why we signed him.
Yeah, and so I mean, you're not wrong, and about the quarterbacks, I would say pretty concerning that they're playing all backups and they still are trash. But
I mean, it felt like it was
granted, which we'll talk about these things in a second. Our whole offensive line is
fair
dead.
enough. It just felt like they were going through the motions so much because it was like we were completing passes, moving down the field, completing passes, and then something dumb would happen or they throw a pick. It was just like every drive kind of just felt like it fizzled out for no reason.
And just what we said at the beginning of this is that it's just such a boring game. Like this game and the first game, it was just so boring to watch. Like there was no
and we probably
heart,
should be like expecting that to an extent, right? Because we know that they're not going to show anything. But
I think it's exactly what you said, though. I think it's just the fact that you're like you miss the hustle plays. You miss the like I don't know. Years past, I can remember picking out specific plays in the preseason where I could be like, that guy just made the team.
There's always a guy that we're like, this guy should make the team. Like he's
even go to last year, it was Ronnie Hickman. He just
and who was the receiver?
And even DTR to that point, DTR lit up the preseason.
Well, and there was a receiver that caught like every ball DTR threw. I can't think of his name right now, but he was like fantastic in the preseason. It was a shock when he got cut.
Yeah. Speaking of shocking receivers being cut, I'll talk about that soon. But no, I don't know. We're just not seeing any of that right now, and it's really frustrating because I'm like, what are we even watching?
You know what else I don't like?
No.
White on white, back again, 2 weeks in a row.
Every week, it's white out.
Again, I'm hoping it's just because it's warm out, so they're like, let's keep the guys cool. But come on, we got dope colors.
Yeah.
Why are we white on white all the time?
I don't know. It's annoying. But anyway, so my 2 big takeaways from the game. We'll leave it at this, and you know we could talk about the second one because I know that's where most everybody's talking about right now. But number one, I had in here that Dante Foreman actually looked. I put good. That's probably a stretch. He looked decent to me. His yards per carry were low, but the offensive line is messed up. But he did. What this game showed me is it looks like they might try and use him as a short yardage back during the season. Because his touchdown was from the 1. He got a lot of those short yardage carries. And then, like we said before,
a lot of short yardage carries for sure. Yeah, they were 1.8 yards per carry.
Like we said,
10 of carries.
Like we said, surprisingly, he had 5 catches for 46 yards. So I didn't expect that, but I think
Tyler Huntley was your leading rusher.
You're not wrong. I just said he looked. I said good was a stretch. He looked decent. Especially when you take into account that the offensive line we're down to like 5th and 6th string, and we're not even out of the preseason yet.
Aiden Robbins did put up a solid 2.8 yards per carry, though.
See?
And I got to put you on blast because you kept calling him Aiden Robinson like for half the show last week. And you're like, I'm so excited about Aiden Robinson. I hope Aiden Robinson makes the team.
Well, when you get ahead of yourself and you just are so excited that you don't even know what you're thinking, that's what happens.
Has that dude returned any kickoffs? Aiden Robinson?
I don't think
he's going to be a kick returner. He's the big one. He's the Derrick Henry guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's like 240 pounds.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to run that. The power return.
Sold.
The power return game.
Sold. Let's just.
That might be the secret to this new kickoff.
Right.
Yeah.
Put a fullback back there.
Second takeaway here, though, from the preseason game is we've once again been bitten by the injury bug, and once again it's on the offensive line, and specifically I'm talking about offensive tackle. Offensive tackles Jack Conklin and Jed Wills obviously aren't even practicing yet because they're currently on the PUP list. So we're down to, what does that make it? 3rd, 4th, 5th string. Well, guess what? All 3 of those guys went down as well. 3 offensive tackles left the game with injuries. Jermaine Afedi, is that how you say that?
Afedi, I think.
Afedi. He had a hand injury. Hakeem Adeniji.
We got a lot of fun ones this year.
Yeah, he had a knee injury, officially on IR as of today, and he's done for at least half the season, probably the whole season, if not getting cut. And then James Hudson had an ankle injury as well. So the left tackle situation is getting pretty dire due to the injuries. And this was Kevin Stefanski's response today, which I found very interesting, is they asked him, a lot going on left tackle, what are we going to do about it? And basically what he said is, we're just going to have to deal with it. I'm like, what? That was your response? Like, we'll just have to deal with it? You don't have anything for us? So I don't know what that was. Luckily, they did go out and sign offensive tackle Chim.
Another good one.
I think it's Chim Okorafor.
That looks good to me.
Yeah.
Feels right.
Yeah. So they brought in another offensive tackle, but that doesn't explain how we're going to replace the other 2 that were lost just in this game.
Look, I mean, I think the thing is that you're going to have a left tackle for the season. You probably can't come in with just like whatever 3rd string backup that they just signed just for depth for the preseason. Like they're going to have to. Unless somebody gets healthy, right? I mean, these are maybe it's not serious.
He keeps saying that Jed Wills is close, but the fact that he hasn't even practiced yet and he keeps saying he's close is very concerning to me.
And the also concerning part about Jed Wills is you weren't sure if he was good to begin with.
Mm-hmm. I like how every year, for the past 2 years, it seems like we go from most people just agree that he's not that great to, well, I guess he's the starter again. Yeah, by default, he's the starter because we didn't get anybody else again.
Like he somehow survived the Baker Mayfield progressive commercials.
He's in the top 30 left tackle in the league.
Just because he's a starter?
I think.
Probably. I don't know.
Who had that? Was that from Sports Illustrated or somebody?
What?
The top 30?
Oh, no, I just made that up.
Oh. It was from Bone. It was a Bone Man special.
What do you say? Top 32.
Yeah, because he's a starter, like you said.
Fair enough.
Anyways, here's the worst part is it's not just offensive tackle. Our whole O-line has already been decimated by injuries, and the guy that got injured early in the preseason, the first preseason game, broke his ankle. Luke Whippler originally was day-to-day, which we knew that was week-to-week because it was a broken ankle. But we were hopeful that he'd be able to come back the second half of the year. Nope, out for the season. They just announced today or yesterday.
Feels really bad.
So, yeah, I mean, their whole O-line is just going to be completely makeshift this year. And I guess the only comfort that I take in this is, well, We made the playoffs last year with the 4th, 5th, 6th string
Fair.
offensive line, and yeah. So I mean, Kevin Stefanski's still the head coach, and he managed to make something out of nothing last year.
I mean, you did it with your 5th string quarterback too,
right? So I mean, I guess there's that.
This year we're doing it without Callahan.
That's true.
That's also
that's
good.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hot on that early in the season, like in the off season, and I've kind of forgot that like
We don't have Bill Callahan anymore.
Bone just pissed me off again.
Sorry.
There's a reason he's been off the show for a while.
I think we're going to miss him.
I think we
Yeah,
will too.
I think what we talked about last week is they signed Nick Harris as a replacement, and my thought
That
was
seems like a good signing.
Well,
though.
that was my thought was that they wanted to bring back a guy that had played in the Bill Callahan offensive scheme before. It's like they knew
You just didn't lean far enough into it.
They knew he was brought up right.
Sure.
So, yeah, not good. I mean, this offensive line has been bad.
Again, not that he's Bill Callahan, though. The guy that is their offensive line coach now, though, has a very good reputation as well.
Sure. And
he's not Bill Callahan,
Yeah.
but he's considered probably one of the top 3 or 4 offensive line coaches in the league.
Yeah, like
so.
if we didn't hire him, somebody else was going to.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, and like
Either that or he would have just kept his job.
We don't just have like a garbage man there. Like not to demean garbage men in society, but like we don't just have like, somebody that doesn't know anything about football. That's like garbage.
They better not even come close to our football team. Those garbage men.
Yeah. So the injuries are real bad. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about injuries here in a second. I just had one other observation. As we talked about the preseason, and we talked about our quarterbacks already a little bit and how they blew. Just not very good, not paying attention, not taking care of the football. Can you name me the quarterbacks that play for the Minnesota Vikings right now, the ones that played on Saturday?
No.
Mullins.
Nick Mullins,
Nick
ex-Brown,
Mullins.
right?
I could name. Yeah, Nick Mullins. No.
Josh Dobbs.
Jaron Hall. And Matt Corral doesn't really count because he had taking snaps, but he's on stat list for some reason. But anyways, Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall. Nick Mullins, 11 of 21, 135 and a touchdown. Jaron Hall, 4 or 5, 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, we got made to look like scrubs by like literal scrubs.
Guys that you never heard of.
The garbage men. Like,
Well, I think this all goes back to what we said at the beginning of this segment is just that like there's no heart in these games. Like what are you?
but I'm
what are you
saying, but
doing?
like DTR and Tyler Huntley comparatively, like you would take DTR and Tyler Huntley both a million times over before you're picking Jaron Hall out of the lineup.
Yeah, I
But,
agree.
like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Like I'm concerned that there's no fight in this team. All like just at this point in training camp.
That's fair. But my next note here
F
Is-
your notes.
is that it's preseason. We're not gonna overreact about anything.
No, I'm overreacting.
As far as how the team
I'm
is
pissed
playing.
off. This team needs to do something.
I mean,
Already in the dumpster.
So many garbage jokes.
but listen, I will say that the biggest concern to me is this offensive line. Like we're a week away from the season, and we have no idea who's going to be starting for the Browns on the offensive line.
2 weeks or 3 weeks, kind of.
But I'm just saying, like we have a week basically to figure this out,
Fair.
and we have no idea, absolutely none.
Well, look, we've talked a little bit about just the offensive line in general leading up to this, right? Like, we all feel good about DeJuan Jones, but like, here's the truth of it. Like, DeJuan was hurt last year, and he's a big-bodied guy. So stuff that like little body guys come back from sooner. Like, this guy's got a lot more weight and pressure on his joints and things that other people don't have because he's just a massive.
He's a big
man.
guy.
Joel Bitonio is 1,000 years old. I love Joel, but like he's 1,000 years old.
Wyatt Teller has injury issues.
Wyatt Teller's the one guy that I'm like I feel pretty steady about, but like Pochik on the inside, like he's been
Injuries.
beat up. Like this offensive line could be a concern all year long.
Yeah. Yeah, so a couple things, though. We've been talking about the offensive line. We put together a few guys that we want to look at, right, that would be potential fits in free agency because you know that they're going to go out and try and find somebody before the season starts. They have to.
Well, you have to. You have to have somebody you can rely on is a thing. And there's not 1,000 names out there that are like tried and true.
No, and the thing you'll notice about this list as we go through it is they're all kind of older guys, but they don't need guys that are going to last them 3-4 years. Like
No,
we
I
need a
don't
guy
need-
that they can plug in right now.
I don't need the left tackle of the future. I need the left tackle of getting me through this year.
Right. So number one on the list here is David Bakhtiari, 6'4", 315 pounds. He's 32 years old. He played 11 years for Green Bay. He would bring meanness and focus to the left tackle position. He does have 131 NFL starts. That's a lot, and he's got a very good resume. Earned 3 Pro Bowls, he's a 2-time first team All Pro, 3-time second team All Pro. Obviously, extremely experienced, and this is a guy that you put in day one, and he's probably good to go.
Yeah, I mean, look, anybody that's watched football over the last decade knows David Bakhtiari. I mean, just a mean motherfucker. I started saying it, and then I tried to stop it, and it just
You
came
censored
out.
yourself at the end.
Just let it flow, man. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a mean dude. The only concern here is that, he missed all last year with a knee injury. So, I mean, he's supposedly healthy now, but but that's the only kind of concern. But other than that, resume. Look, I mean, this guy. I think
it's a no-brainer, right?
If you could just pick anybody out of the lineup, the question is is he going to make sense from a financial side of things too?
Well, at this point, he's not on a team, though, right?
But I'm sure a guy like Bakhtiari, though, is going to be sought after by other teams that have left tackle injuries that need a stalwart for the rest of the season. So he'll make his money this year. It's just going to be where.
That's fair. Next up here, DJ Humphries, 6'5", 307, 30 years old. He's been pretty durable in his 8 years in the NFL, has 98 starts. He's a former first-round pick for the Cardinals, and he made the Pro Bowl in 2021. So another solid resume, another guy that you can just put in there. And really, that's what we're looking at, right? All these guys are guys that you can just plug in, and they're ready to go, and they can play from day one.
If you could put it in Madden terms, you're looking for the 82 overall.
Yeah.
He's got to be he's got to.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage,
he's got to be. He doesn't have to be the best, but he can't be. He's got to be a solid starter. He's got to be the solid guy to get you through a season.
Yeah.
Obviously, guy was an early round pick. Made a lot of starts in the NFL. I guess Jed Wills was also an early round pick. So, but again, that's the kind of guy that you're looking for is this archetype.
Yeah. And then next up here, the final guy that we have for a target for the Browns is Charles Leno Jr., 6'3", 302, 32 years old, played 7 seasons with the Bears, 3 with the Commanders. He's played in 149 games with 141 starts, and he had a Pro Bowl season in 2018. So, again, to your point about 82 overall, this guy's not, he's not Joe Thomas by any means, or even that's a Hall of Famer. Even a guy that you're going to pick out and say this is the guy that we want to build around on the offensive line or anything like that. Especially because he's 32.
He's a jag. He's just a guy.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
But
he's a solid guy.
My only concern with a guy like Charles Leno is it feels like his best days are behind him. So.
But that's okay. Can he be serviceable?
Right. I mean, again, we're not looking for the cream of the crop here, but I just think out of these 3 guys, he's my least favorite option. I think a guy like Bakhtiari, I'd be excited about.
Yeah, I agree. Bone, any of those guys jump out at you?
I mean, they all 3 got Pro Bowls under their belt, so I think that would be
step up,
just a step up,
or at least a lateral step, because there's a lot of Pro Bowls on our offensive line too.
But yeah, Bakhtiari would be badass.
Yeah. I agree. But while we're talking about free agency here, much has been made about Andrew Berry's spending, but the Browns' salary cap is not wasting much money. It came out, kind of the list of dead cap spending came out this week for the NFL, and the Browns were almost at the bottom. They were ranked 27 out of 32 teams with only $15.86 million in dead cap.
Yeah, I mean, testament to the magician that is Andrew Berry. I mean, we talked about all the contracts and things in the offseason, and Amari and Nick Chubb and all these guys. I mean, Dustin Hopkins got extended, so JOK recently with an extension. And we were wondering the whole time, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for this? Because we have the Deshaun contract, and you got Myles out there and Denzel that have big number contracts. Again, testament to this guy for playing with the phony money the right way.
Yeah.
he knows how to pull
That's
every
pretty crazy.
lever.
And I know at times we've questioned some of his moves too. But if nothing else, what have we said for a long time about Cleveland in general is that the Guardians, I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but the Guardians are by far the best run organization in Cleveland because they don't spend a ton of money. However, they always end up making a run at some point or another. And right now it's pretty perfect to talk about it because they're one of the top 3 teams in baseball. They might still be the top team right now. But regardless, they just continually bring up talent and they're able to kind of recycle that. They might have a down year or two, but they're right back at it after that.
Well, especially in baseball for being a small middle market
Right.
team. They may be one of the best run organizations in all of professional sports.
Right,
Period.
but the Browns and Andrew Berry, as far as being fiscally responsible and making sure that they're competitive, I think that Andrew Berry is heading in that direction.
And there's a reason why guys from our front office keep getting picked to go other places.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same as the Guardians end up having the same problem. I mean, guys get picked and plucked to go everywhere else.
Yeah.
The only other thing that stuck out to me on this list was, goddamn, the Chiefs, $6 million in dead cap. I mean, you talk about a well-run organization. They retain their entire team every year, go to the Super Bowl every year.
So stupid.
And they don't have any wasted money at all.
It's so stupid.
Like,
It's
how
so
is that even
stupid.
possible?
I hate it.
Lose their best receiver, top receiver in the NFL, and then
We're fine.
still win it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, you got the best quarterback in
Who, by the way, was named
generation.
the top player in the NFL. So, yeah, that's crazy. But, anyways, as for
but how many Super Bowls does Tyreek have?
a couple, they won with him.
Right? No?
I thought they won at least one.
I don't think that he won any.
Bones on it.
Well, Patrick has at least two more.
Yeah. But as for camp this week, getting off of free agent talk into camp and the preseason finale, the Browns will travel to Seattle for this week's game. As of now, the Browns still have the plan in place for Deshaun Watson to start the game.
Why?
Tyreek Hill, guys, has one Super Bowl.
One. So,
One.
And then he was done. And that was why he was with the Chiefs.
Yeah. But anyways, the Browns still plan to start Deshaun Watson.
I'll say it again. Why?
Yeah,
You
so-
have no offensive line.
Yeah,
You have zero offensive line.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
there,
get that.
there's rumors. There were rumors. I think Sports Illustrated put out a story that they were potentially rethinking that, and they might not start him, which I think is a good idea.
Great idea.
But then Fox Sports came back and refuted that and said, no. Despite the injuries, Deshaun Watson will still play.
As much as I want to see Deshaun Watson play, I will wait 3 more weeks to
Like,
not
what are you
have
actually
him,
going to get out
to
of this?
not have him murdered on the field.
Yeah, what are you going to get? He better only be playing like 4 plays, and they better be like slants.
And what's the point of that?
Nothing.
What is it? Every minute he's out there is just a
risk.
excessive risk.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand it either. Like, at this point, just cut your losses and say we're going to have to get right in the first 3 weeks of the season.
It's almost like they're doing it just because they said they were going to do it. It's like, you don't have to be proud here, guys. Like things have changed.
We made a mistake.
You don't have an offensive line.
Yeah, like the circumstances are not the same as when you made that statement.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know. And then here's the other thing. So when Joe Hayden, well-respected former Cleveland Brown, retired Cleveland Brown, so we all love him.
Love Joe.
I
got a Hayden jersey somewhere.
Yeah, he was on either a podcast or a radio show this week, and when he was told about the team's third and final preseason game at 10 p.m. Eastern time in Seattle, Joe had this to say: "That doesn't sound like a starter's trip." Like, no shit. Like what? Like at this point, with all the injuries and everything else going on, like why would that be a bad idea to just say, listen, all the starters, you guys are all injured. We're going to give you 1 extra week of rest. And like I said, like, yeah, sure, that's probably rough having to go into the season saying we're going to have to tighten things up in those first 3 weeks of the season, and we might lose a game because we're not quite there. But I'd rather you do that than start the season injured.
Yeah, I mean, come out in a walking boot.
Yeah,
that
like
helps everyone.
what are we doing here?
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. This seems silly.
Also, hindsight being 2020, and not even 2020, you knew the game before the preseason started. The final preseason game was at 10 p.m. Eastern. Why is that the game that you've chosen to make all your starters play? Like, why didn't you choose a different game?
I said last week they should have played against the Vikings.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, by all accounts, Deshaun had a really nice week against the Vikings in team practices. I saw one. No, I wasn't there, right? But this is from whatever media was reporting there. Was that Deshaun was something like 44 of 50 with 7 touchdowns in team drills against the Vikings.
Yeah.
Like, they said he was spectacular. So,
like, what's going to be
take
different?
that momentum and ride it. I don't need to see him
like,
play
why do you have
5
to see him
plays
play? I don't get it.
in
I don't get
Seattle.
it. I don't get it. I digress, though. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So instead, we're going to do our preseason. I guess we will talk about it more. A preseason week 3 preview. This is the preview. Don't get injured.
Don't get injured. Yeah, like the only goal here is to come out of this game as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
Again, I want to see these guys, at least in the running back room and the wide receiver room, that are bubble guys, fight for a spot. But everybody else, like, just come home healthy.
If you already know that you will be playing meaningful snaps for the Browns this season, don't get hurt.
Don't get hurt.
That's the goal.
Yeah,
don't get hurt.
Just don't go. Don't go to Seattle.
Get hurt. Yeah, just stay home. Don't show up.
Stay home.
We don't need you.
Take the fine.
Yeah. Guys, I think I'm going to sit this one out.
I'm not going.
But anyways, notable roster moves for the Browns. Browns waived wide receiver Matt Landers today.
Like Office Space. Like, I don't think I'm going to go to work today.
Won't they fire you? I don't know. But yeah, the notable roster moves. The Browns waived wide receiver Matt Landers today.
This was the
one guy that tried to earn it, and
he was the honeymooner of camp. I mean,
is this why?
Was talking about Matt Landers, and I mean, to be honest, he didn't do anything in the last 2 games. So
fair. Well, I was just gonna say, is this why though that nobody tries? Is because they're like, well, I'm just gonna get cut anyways, so I guess I'll just
could
see
be.
Ya.
I mean, I guess it's it is a long shot for some of these guys, right? Because you have guys like David Bell and Tillman. They were drafted here. And already on the team, like incumbent spots. And then you got Jamari Thrash and Amarion Brown, who like they've showed interest in recently. And Jamari Thrash was drafted. Amarion was undrafted free agent. So
yeah,
it's like, I guess if you're a guy like Matt Landers, you're probably on the outside looking in to begin with. But still, like, how did the nobles become nobled in the first place?
They took it at the tip of a sword.
Yeah, get out there and fight for it.
I know. So I was a little. Whatever. I don't know. Nobody tries, apparently. That's the bottom line.
We're the only ones trying out here.
In other Browns news, this one I hate. Mike Hall Jr. was arrested in a horrific domestic dispute situation this past week. Avon police officers were called to Hall's home Monday evening. Police were told an argument between Hall and his fiancée began over finances regarding a dental procedure for her child, but things quickly escalated. Hall allegedly pressed a gun against the woman's temple, threw a baby bottle at her, and dragged her out of the house. All of this while 2 other children and the mother-in-law were in the home. Not good anytime.
No.
But when you're endangering other people as well, exponentially worse. Especially children. Like again, not good ever. Not good ever, but there's...
I mean, just like Perry and Winfrey vibes.
Yeah. It's very, very scary.
I mean, just the fact that if you're... Look, I mean, no one should do this, but like the lack of awareness if you're a first-round pick. I mean, I guess he's a second-rounder, but he was essentially our first-round pick. I mean... Well,
we say this all the time. Like, to even put yourself in a situation...
I guess, is my point.
Like one, if you're an NFL football player, you... Especially a second round draft pick, like he's still doing well. It's not like he signed a crap contract.
No,
like you have enough money, hire a bodyguard. You don't ever carry a firearm.
Yeah,
like if you're an NFL player, don't carry a firearm because only bad things happen.
Don't carry a firearm. Don't drive anywhere. Hire a driver.
Right. Those are.
The dude had to make a decision to pick that thing up and put it against his girlfriend's head. Like.
What, like something seriously
if this stuff
wrong.
is true, the dude's a coward. I mean, look how big he is, first of all.
Yeah.
And he's weak-minded.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing shit like that dude
right. And so
was not raised right.
And that's
nobody gave that kid a whooping or something. I don't know, but
and we like when it first broke, we kind of said the same thing. We
all texted each other. I said if this all is true, this dude forget about football. Like he shouldn't be playing football. He should be in jail.
Right.
For a while. And he's a danger to society.
This doesn't sound like one of those. It was the mother-in-law, I think, that called the police, at least from my understanding. Like, this doesn't sound like something that was sensational. Like, this was pretty cut. Like, dragged her outside by her hair, put a gun to her head, told her it's going to end it all. Like, there's not a lot of details to make me go, well, maybe there's another side to this story. Like,
literally,
there's no excuse for that ever.
Right. The only thing that gives me pause and think to think that maybe there is another side of the story is the fact that the Browns have not cut him yet. And I know that all these teams have their own internal resources that they can use to gather stories, talk to people, do whatever they need to do. The fact that they haven't cut him yet, he remains on the team. And in fact, they let him practice and said that
he played Saturday.
Yeah, they said they're letting the legal process play out. That's the only thing that tells me that maybe the story is slightly different. But regardless, nobody, including Mike Hall Jr., has come out and said he didn't do any of those things.
Right.
So if you did those things, I don't care about football anymore.
Right.
You should be in jail. Once you threaten another human's life, and put children in danger on top of it, you should be in jail.
It's an interesting departure from where most NFL clubs have been for the last 2 decades, which is a story like this breaks and you're not immediately cut.
Right.
So,
and it's kind of
maybe the engineering company knows something we don't. It's hard to believe that, given the details seem pretty cut and clear.
Yeah.
I think that if they keep him on the team and let's say he plays 4 or 8 weeks until this thing gets sorted out, and then it comes out and he gets charged, convicted, whatever. The Browns look really bad here.
Yeah. Well, and that was going to be my next comment. Is on the flip side of this, that happens, right? And it's a scary thing to think about, just like where the Browns are as an organization, that they're so tone deaf to things that have recently happened in their past and people they've signed, that they let this guy practice and play.
Well, yeah, the message essentially is winning trumps all, and we don't care how we get there.
And I would say most Clevelanders, and I know, whatever. Most Clevelanders would say we would not trade, as much as we won a Super Bowl, you're not trading this type of behavior for a Super Bowl.
But on the flip side, it's hard to play that too when you've already done the Deshaun deal, right? And that's a different story altogether. I'm not going to relitigate the whole thing. But it's just between Deshaun and now this, this is a bad look for the Browns. I don't know how you don't at least immediately come out and say
he's suspended until we know further.
Until we know something else, that they would let him play the next day.
That's what I don't understand. It's just wild.
You can't keep letting this guy practice and play if you're going to let the legal process play out. Because in the event that it doesn't go well for him, you look like you're sanctioning and not condemning what is
and they have,
obviously
the NFL has the exempt list for a reason. You throw him on that because you don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
Why are you letting him? I don't know. But here's what I will say. In his first day at practice after the story broke, he was unable to finish after sustaining a stinger. So, is that
my
karma?
My thoughts on that are probably he showed to practice and kind of felt weird, he shouldn't be there anyway. And you were kind of I might take myself out of drills.
Yeah.
This hurts.
I would probably agree.
Because that's just, it's going to be uncomfortable for him too, right? All of a sudden, everybody knows your dirty laundry.
Here's the sad part about Mike Hall Jr. is he went to Streetsboro High School. He's literally the most local kid.
We had a ton of expectations.
He's right in our backyard. He went to Ohio State. He then got drafted by the Browns in the second round. He's a hometown kid, and for you to have all that at your fingertips and not only fuck it up for yourself, but put people in danger.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Well, and that's what I said. But my first remark was the lack of awareness to be in that situation to begin with is astounding to me. Because if you're a defensive tackle and you're coming in with this type of A, ability, and B, expectation, if you're 70% of a guy like what Aaron Donald was, you're going to make $100 million in your NFL career.
Yeah.
Over the course of your career, you're going to make $100 million. You're going to throw that away over some argument you had at 10 o'clock with a girlfriend or a fiance or whoever about what braces or something? What do we do? What are we doing here? You got to be smarter than that.
It's just wild. And you're a freaking NFL player. You're going to really complain about your wife wanting to get your kid braces? Get out of here.
But to Bones' point, maybe this guy's just never had anybody that really he doesn't have the right stuff to be able to compartmentalize and deal with that.
To be honest, that's what it sounds like to me.
He's always bigger, faster, stronger than
always
everybody.
Got his way.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't. It's always been easy for him. He doesn't have the mental capacity to handle challenges in his life.
Maybe.
I don't know. But to much happier things here. A day at the museum. Browns defensive end
Sounds like a movie.
Browns defensive end Myles Garrett hosts the 3rd annual back-to-school kickoff for local kids at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. So you had this back-to-school kickoff. He hosted local families at one of his favorite places, which is that Museum of Natural History. Do you guys think that he likes it so much because he's Jurassic Miles?
Good one.
Is that?
Yeah, they got a nice. They got a big old T-Rex in there, don't they?
Yeah. See.
A few other.
See. No, this was just a great thing. It was just a good story of.
Just bring us back up after the negative story. You know what? Also,
there are Browns out there doing good things too.
Yeah, I mean, this is cool. I mean, we love seeing guys get involved in the community. This was obviously a good thing. This is neither here nor there, but did you guys see that the rainforest is closing down?
Yeah, because the primates are moving up to the front of the. We were just there.
Well, they're gonna make it. They're gonna close it for like 2 years and then make it just a primate exam. Like the rainforest itself is like done.
Yeah,
like it's done.
Wow.
Sad, right?
Yeah.
Like we grew up going to that place,
Yeah.
like whether field trips or even just like my parents taking me, like with friends.
It'll be interesting to see if they do kind of like where you kind of felt like you were, especially if you're a kid, you feel like you're in the rainforest when you're
like
there.
There's nothing else like that. I mean, you can go to the zoo in Akron, but there's nothing like.
But what I'm saying is, so like the primate house is way up at the top right now, right? And it's just kind of the.
It takes a while to walk to it.
Yeah, it's just like a box. It's like just a building with like a bunch of exhibits in it. Like I wonder if they're going to do more of a like it feels
immersive.
like you're like an immersive type thing up there with the primate exhibits as well.
What, like you want to be a primate?
I'm sure it will be. I mean, if they're demoing that and rebuilding something new.
Well, and that's what I'm hoping. And I'm wondering if I don't know what the plans are for
the focal point.
I don't know what the plans are for where the primate house is now. Like if they're
it just sounds like they're replacing the whole exhibit with the primate. Like it's just going to be the primate exhibit.
No, I understand, but the primate house is at the top of the hill now. So what's going to go there when the primates move to the front?
Probably nothing. Storage from the rainforest.
Just storage. I think they're going to put in a new thing up there. But anyways, I did see that because we were at the zoo. All right, so we've talked a lot about the stadium the past few weeks, as it has been, back and forth battle with the Browns, the city of Cleveland, all that good stuff. Well, we said when they released it, the city of Cleveland, their offer to the Browns to help foot the bill was just to keep. It was like a PR move. It was just to keep the residents happy, to show them something, to say, hey, we tried, we did everything we could to keep them here, but it really didn't hold a lot of water. No pun intended, Cleveland. But Cleveland.com ran a story this week about how, when adjusted for inflation, the city would barely be helping at all, and that there's a reason the Browns are going their own direction. I think that the number that it came at, and it only covered like a third of it or something like that. Yeah. Which is exactly what we've been saying all along. It's just a ploy.
It was never a serious offer.
It's not a real offer.
It was just to play the game.
Yeah, and so we'll talk more about the stadium here in a little bit, but I just thought it was very interesting that just give it a week and everybody's already figuring this thing out.
Yeah.
So finally here in the Burning River Rundown, former Browns QB Colt McCoy has announced his retirement from football. He's going to enter the TV booth, will serve as an analyst for NBC during Big Ten games, making his debut September 7th with the Colorado-Nebraska game.
I could see Colt making the NFL commentating game at some point. I mean, I think it's a good move for him to start in college football. I like Colt. Look, I got nothing against Colt. Colt played his heart out here. I mean, got his ass kicked a bunch of times playing for bad Browns teams.
But why? It's the greatest clip of all time that we can't find.
I think he was ahead of his time, and like he was the first Browns quarterback. I remember that like he started the Colt camp where he like took all the receivers to Texas, and like now they all do that. But like that was, at least at that point in my life, the first time I had seen a quarterback in Cleveland say, "Hey, let's all go down to my hometown, and I got 1 million acres of land because my dad's an oil baron, and let's play football."
Yeah.
But like I have fond memories of Colt. They beat the Giants and the Patriots in like back-to-back weeks.
Oh, like right when his first couple starts, wasn't it? His first 4 starts. They were both at that time. They were like the best teams in football. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I have fond memories of Colt. And look, the guy's made himself a nice career out of being a backup. He's played too. It's not like he just was a backup and sat the bench everywhere he went. He had a lot of games played in Arizona and I think Washington.
Yep.
He had a really nice career for a guy that was a mid-round pick that kind of came in. It just toughed it out forever.
Yeah. And so let's see. RG3, Colt McCoy. I know there's at least 2 other Browns quarterbacks.
Brady Quinn.
Jason.
Yeah, there's basically what I'm trying to say is the Browns just breed
Who is
QB broadcasters.
broadcasters. I think you're just talking about backups that played for the
No.
Redskins and the Browns.
QB broadcasters. We're the best at that.
Who's the quarterback I'm thinking of? Jason played for the Browns and like the team.
Campbell.
Campbell. Yeah.
Chase Campbell. But no. I was talking about broadcasters. We're the best at creating those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So real quick here, let's take a quick trip around the AFC North. We'll start with the Cincinnati Bengals. They unveiled an all-orange uniform. With this news came the announcement that they will be opening the season with an orange out September 8th against the New England Patriots. Thoughts on the all-orange uniforms, guys?
First off, the orange on orange combination is just absolute fire.
It literally looks like fire.
I hate Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I hate the stripes, the tiger stripes. I hate the fact that they stole our colors to begin with. And I'm just sad that we never go orange on orange.
We should go orange on
The only
orange.
person that ever went orange on orange was Dante Hittner on the day they released the old jerseys. He's the only orange on orange they ever.
The only time. They said, here's what it would look like, but we're not going to wear
And
it.
it was super cool. I played every Madden game orange on orange.
Orange is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Orange is pretty cool.
Browns dropped the ball letting Cincinnati just take that. Just
Yeah.
take it right from under us.
They really did.
And we don't even wear the orange jerseys anymore, to be honest. I mean, we wear the orange pants, but
I don't even know that it's in our current comment. I don't even think they have an orange jersey currently.
No.
It's just brown and white right now.
I mean, that was
They still have orange pants that they can wear, but there's no orange jersey in their current.
They should really release one.
Yeah, I agree.
Because our orange is the best orange in football.
I agree. To your point earlier in the show that white on white is going to get old because not only do they have their normal white on white, but their throwbacks are white on white as well. So it's just like,
everybody
come on.
wears white, like it's an away uniform. Like, that's never been special to me.
Yeah, but next up here, Baltimore. Their offense continued to struggle in the preseason. Particularly, their O-line has much of the fan base panicking and much of the coaching staff scrambling. Because you went out, you got Derrick Henry to improve the rushing game, an already potent rushing game, but then all of a sudden, some of these losses that they've occurred in the offseason between their defense, their offensive line, what have you, starting to stack up. And if you can't block for them, what is going and getting Derrick Henry going to do for you?
I hate Baltimore. But I think they'll right the ship and they'll be okay. I still think
Preseason?
Derrick Henry is going to be a force.
We're just chalking it up preseason?
Yeah, I still think Derrick Henry is going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. It's going to be a real pain in our ass all year long.
I'm okay with
I
that.
have a different take.
Oh.
Baltimore's running backs get hurt every single year. The only running back for Baltimore that lasts is Gus Edwards. He'll be their starter by week 5.
Oh, hot take. I like it.
Fair enough.
You should call the hot take
They
hotline.
just get hurt every year. Like
That's
3 or
true.
4 of them go down, and then
That's true.
lo and behold, there's Gus Edwards still carrying the ball.
Old Gus. He's always
They can't cut him because he's the only guy that can ever stay healthy for him.
I mean, that is fair. But I think it's partly because they run their running backs into the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a rush first offense. Even with Lamar, I mean, his passing attack is one look, and if it's not there, I'm using my legs.
I got to get out of here. Can't stay here. And then finally, the Pittsburgh Steelers dropped to 0-2 in the preseason. The offense failed to put the ball in the end zone, and their 2-week total for points this preseason is a whopping 15.
Look, all I would say is I think our point total is like a whopping 19.
It's still more than Pittsburgh's. I think my only take from this, I actually don't care about all the point total as much as I care about the fact that I just hope this quarterback controversy continues into the season, continues throughout the season, and they just keep going back and forth.
I hate Pittsburgh too, so
their ass. I will say this: we've talked a lot in the offseason about Pittsburgh potentially winning the division because they did make a lot of really good moves. The longer this quarterback controversy goes on, I could see them losing a decent amount of games.
Here's the other thing you're forgetting: their head coach is Mike Tomlin.
That's true. They're going to be at least 500.
And something tells me that like Mike Tomlin's not going to put up with a serious quarterback controversy.
He's just going to name one and go with it and just be like, "That's what I chose. That's what we're sticking."
And
with.
it's Mike Tomlin, so he'll probably choose right. As much as we want to believe that
that's true.
As much as we want to believe that there's dumpster on fire in Pittsburgh, like
not going to happen.
Mike Tomlin, like
to be fair, this is I actually agree with pretty much everything you're saying. Is even though I want to look further into some of these things with the AFC North rivals. We're all going to start the season about the same. We're all going to finish the season about the same. The AFC North is the best division in football, and everybody's going to be good. So, it is what it is.
yeah. I mean, we talked about like the Green Bay quarterbacks for like 40 years. They've had 3 quarterbacks, like Mike Tomlin, and then Cowher.
Yeah,
and like who was for
they do the same thing with coaches in Pittsburgh.
Like it's a stable organization over there.
Yeah,
so
that's fair. And then real quick, some notes from around the league. I just have one. Patrick Mahomes completed a behind-the-back pass in a preseason game, and I just got to say, I hate this guy. I just hate him.
It just doesn't make sense that they get better every year.
I just hate him. He just is so good. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But that'll take us to the Hot 3.
Hot 3.
I'm the heat in your lungs. I'm the smoke in the sky. I'm the gas in the tank. Gonna turn it up, tank it up. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot, hot to the touch. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot like fire, 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 fire.
But anyways, this is a new segment this year where we pick a category and we have to give our Hot 3 in that category. From there, you can tell us who is right, who is wrong, and what we missed. This week, I got a good one for you guys. If you saw Will Ferrell in public, what quotes are your go-tos to just shout at him? You just got to shout these. These are just quick. So we're going to start with Bone. Bone.
Oh, man. I wrote these out.
All right, let's hear them.
I almost nunchucked you. You don't even realize. Wedding Crashers, of course.
Yeah, got it.
Santa! Oh, my God, Santa! Here, I know him.
Bone is doing it with Will Ferrell's inflection.
I love
It's
it.
better than just saying the line.
I love it.
It's gonna sound terrible, like on the recording. But this one's a little lesser known, I think. It's a little longer, but now you listen to me, you fat-faced cobnobbler. I don't know who you are or what butthole you crawled out of, but this is my woman and our baby, and every night he gets swaddled in the tightest of pants.
What's that one from?
Jimmy Fallon late night.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
Everybody's talking about my tight pants. That skit. It's my favorite skit.
I just went movie quotes from. I'll go next. I just went movie quotes from. I didn't even think about to use his other media, but we'll start with number 3 here. Ma, the meatloaf.
Great. Classic.
And mind you, mine are all quick, like one-liners, because I thought of this as like what I would shout at him. Like I just saw him.
I missed that.
Yours were a little longer. I still like him, and I think Will Ferrell would appreciate yours. Yeah. But number 2 for me, you're my boy, Blue.
Classic.
Love that line.
And then finally, it has to be number 1 for me. I mean, we lived our whole high school years being this movie. So shake it, bake.
Shake it, bake.
Shake it,
Shake it, bake.
You gotta shake it before you bake it.
What is that?
Epilepsy.
If you smell something crispy coming from your tailpipe, it's not your engine. It's a little bit of shake and bake.
Shake it, bake. Shake it, bake.
Kenny, what do you got?
God, I love this topic. I mean, you could do top 3 just from Talladega Nights, like from so many Will Ferrell movies.
Are we about to get along? Because I'm as hard as a diamond in an ice storm.
I mean, thinking about this, I was just in stitches all day. Thinking about like all that, like when Will Ferrell dies, and we have to think about like his contribution to American society and culture. Like it is vast, full of one-liners of just like absolute hilarity.
Oh. What are your 3?
So number 3, I'll meet you there with Shake and Bake. Talladega Nights, because you were Shake, I was in Bake.
Yeah.
Just classic Will Ferrell. Number 2, and I was like, Emilio!
The Mighty Ducks guy. No way! I swear to God. I swear to God.
Oh. And then my favorite, and this might just be because it's like a core memory from like growing up. My favorite Will Ferrell skit, anything of all time, was the dysfunctional family dinner on SNL. He gets so mad. You listen to me. I drive a Dodge Stratus. I drive a Dodge Stratus.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar's just looking at him like, what are you talking about right now? I drive a Dodge Stratus.
I manage 39 people. I drive a Dodge Stratus. Like, I think that was from before, like, I started living my life by movie quotes, and that's just the first quote that's in my brain is Will Ferrell's. I say, like, all the cars. Like, that was the symbol of
I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Middle class success. I drive a Dodge Stratus. You can't talk to me that way.
All right, guys. So those are our hot 3. Real quick, to close out this segment, just throw out any Will Ferrell quotes you can think of at the top of your head that are make everybody laugh. Throw me some chicken.
That was so close to being on my list. It's like so many of them are so obscure.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
101. 102.
I don't know if you were listening. I was over 100 there.
I believe diversity refers to an old wooden ship.
Unique New York. The arsonist had oddly shaped feet. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan today.
Oh my gosh.
I'm burying you.
If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
Baxter, you know I don't speak Spanish.
I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed. You eat a whole wheel of cheese?
Did we just become best friends? It was Johnny Hopkins and Sloan Kettering, and we were blazing that shit all day. I always have Little River Band loaded up.
LRB. I'm not calling him Dad. Not even if there's a fire.
Oh my God. There's so many quotes. So many quotes. We'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
And that is the hot three.
Wow.
When in Rome.
When in Rome. All right. So next up here, let's talk about the Nick Chubb football giveaway. For the second offseason in a row, we are giving away some autographed Browns paraphernalia. That word wasn't even in there, but that's the word I used. And for the second year in a row, it's a Nick Chubb autographed item. This year, a football.
There it is.
Last year, a jersey. This year, a football. The winner will be chosen from our YouTube subscribers. We will announce the winner the morning of opening day. So what is that? September 8th against the Cowboys. There are other ways that you can earn bonus entries besides subscribing on YouTube. Head to our socials and keep an eye out for more information on how to earn those entries. The link is in the show notes. You can go to our social media for more information. But bottom line is be subscribed on YouTube. That's how you get entered.
That's where you see all of our full-length podcast episodes. So why would you not be a subscriber on YouTube?
I don't know. If you're not, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
So again, link in the show notes for everything, also on our social medias. But with that, let's take a quick revenue break and then get back here and talk more Browns. Towpath Distillery. Towpath Distillery, an award-winning craft distillery located in Akron, Ohio. Towpath Distillery focuses on high-quality spirits carefully made in small batches. Towpath's lineup includes an ultra-smooth, award-winning premium vodka, a small batch silver rum made from the highest grade molasses, an American craft gin made with 9 botanicals, and a blended straight bourbon made from corn and rye. Towpath Distillery, now available locally and in 46 states. Visit towpath-distillery.com to place your order online or find an OHLQ retailer near you. Towpath Distillery, handcrafted, award-winning, small batch, local, and family-owned. All right, so a couple of events I want to talk to you about that Burning River Sportscast will be attending here soon, and even throwing. Even participating.
We're throwing a party.
So first up, we have a pretty big event coming up at the end of August here, just a couple weeks out. Just like a week out, basically. Our first of what we hope to be many more season preview parties. It will be at Towpath Distillery, located in the Merchant Tavern in Akron, Ohio. That's on August 28th. It's from 5:30 p.m. to 9. And the tickets are $35. And what that includes is party admission, front row seats to watch us record our season preview episode, meet and greets with former Browns players John Hughes and Frank Stamms, meet and greet with Browns on-field MC Bridget Linton, autograph sessions with former Browns players and Bridget Linton if you'd like, distillery tour, distillery spirit tasting, and there will be additional food and drink available for purchase. So come have a kick-ass time as we kick off Browns season. The link for that is in our show notes as well. Kenny, tell them a little more.
So also don't forget that the second half of my punishment is to take place during this event where I have to do shots of all of the Towpath spirits. So,
which there's at least 8 of them that
you're not just getting a front row seat to us recording our podcast. You're also getting a front row seat to me blacking out drunk.
Yes.
Look, a great lineup. John Hughes, Frank Stamms, funny, very nice guys. Bridget Linton, just awesome Irish dancer.
World class.
I will probably battle her in Irish dancing by the time I've had it.
Yes. Now that
we'll have a straight dance off. And
that's worth $35 just that.
To top it all off, at Merchant Tavern, I can't say enough good things about Merchant Tavern. Obviously, the distillery is in there, and the tour and the tasting is going to be great. But probably one of the best restaurants in the greater Akron area, and probably the whole state of Ohio. I mean, it's just awesome food, awesome people. Going to take great care of everybody there. It's going to be a kick-ass time.
Absolutely.
Did you invite your folks, Moan?
I think so.
Make sure
I'm
you
not-
come in and your wife's folks. Invite everybody.
All
It's
right.
gonna be a party.
Bring your kids, bring your wives. Don't bring your kids. There's lots of alcohol that'll be involved. And then next up, New Orleans True Fan Travel Trip. That's right. You heard it here first. You've heard it a few times, but we're saying it again. Burning River Sportscast will be heading down to New Orleans with True Fan Travel. This event includes optional round-trip private charter flight, 3-night stay at Renaissance New Orleans Père Marquette French Quarter.
Hell yes.
Welcome party, which is all-inclusive river cruise down the Mississippi River with the Dog Pound. Q&A with Kevin Mack, a pep rally the day before, all-inclusive tailgate the day of the game, tickets to the game at the Superdome, and on-site trip coordinators to handle any questions or issues that may arise while you're down there. So from start to finish, they're just taking care of everything.
Everything.
It's basically a home game, but it's an away game.
Yeah, you're making an away game a home game.
Yeah.
But in addition, you also get to have your own time to go out and explore a new city, somewhere fun to be.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to this. Obviously, the three of us will be headed down, so you can come party with us, with the Burning River Sportscast, on the all-inclusive boat cruise down the Mississippi River with the Dog Pound, and Burning River Sportscast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so pumped for that.
Going to be a hell of a
blast.
time. And I'm actually looking forward to this tailgate, because my guess is there's going to be some really dope-ass fare at this event.
Oh, I agree.
For as big as this thing's going to be, there's probably going to be some really delectable snacks.
Absolutely. It's going to be lit. Make sure you get your tickets. Tickets for that. There's a link in the show notes where you can go get tickets for that as well. Join us. It's going to be a hell of a time.
New Orleans.
But right now, we've got a new interview series for 2024.
Powered by Riverside FM.
All right, so coming into the season, we wanted to collaborate with some of the people that contribute to Browns media and give us all the information regarding our hometown team that we so religiously consume year-round. This next gentleman has a blog and has built himself a decent following on social media. He does a great job covering the Browns and supporting the team. You know him on Facebook as the Cardiac Dogs Podcast. Please welcome superfan and friend of the show, Dewey Perry. Dewey, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Doing great, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
Can't complain.
So first and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started covering the Browns.
So like most of us who root for this miserable franchise, I've just been a lifelong fan, born and raised in Cleveland. I started, it was a birthday present to myself a couple years ago. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. I would just come home from work and, everybody I worked with was Browns fans. So we'd get riled up at the lunch table, talk about stuff. I'd go home and just kind of unload all this random fun facts to my girlfriend, or my ex-girlfriend now. And she, at one point after a couple of months, was just like, will you shut up? I will pay what's necessary for you to talk to people who give a crap. And I was like, well, so like literally 24 hours later, I was just like, I just made a Facebook page, and I was like, all right, I'll just info dump random stuff here. And it was rather vulgar and really unorganized when I started. And it was just take share a clip or article from somebody else and then write my little 2 cents. And for whatever reason, other Browns fans decided that I was worth a like or a comment or the inevitable, telling me to F myself. So.
Yeah.
It does feel like some of those best conversations happen over lunch, right? Like you almost need a camera crew and recording softwares to just watch people's lunches, because there's a lot of Browns discussions I feel like that happen during that time.
Absolutely. And usually with your friends, where it's like the time that you're away from the desk and you're able to kind of say what you want to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get it. So you said you've been a Browns fan for life. And you kind of just started this thing as more or less a dumping ground for all of the fun or cruel times you've had with the Browns. So how, I guess with what you're building here, what's next for you? Like, where are you trying to go from here covering the Browns?
I have no direction currently. I've just been blessed for people to keep liking and commenting, just after stupid shares and posts. I'm just kind of feeling around in the dark. Hopefully, I have a love for broadcasting and podcasts, stuff like this. I've done a handful of smaller projects that I've helped build and then moved away from because I got burnt out on it. So I don't know. Maybe someday I'll be as sophisticated as you guys and have a live stream or something. Who knows? I mean, now's the day and age where everybody, especially on the internet, can have their 2 cents. So I obviously won't have a setup as luxurious as your guys'. I am absolutely floored in how beautiful that setup is. All props to you guys. I love the Chubb jersey, by the way. So that would be
You're making me blush over here.
I know. Yeah, this is. Listen, we didn't bring you on just to gush over our studio, although we do appreciate it. We do. It was. I'm sure being at least in the space and understanding what kind of work goes into this type of thing. Just we don't like to talk about it all that much, but it does take a lot of hard work to get to a point like this. But no, we really love what you're doing, and even if you are feeling in the dark, you're feeling in the dark the right way because
you got a nice following.
You got a nice following. People resonate with what you're saying, and I think it's entertaining. You still, I still see you out there dropping, like you said, articles and giving your 2 cents and doing what you do. So I appreciate what you're bringing, and it's one of those things. It's like, not everybody wants to hear what the dudes on ESPN are saying. A lot of people just want to talk to another Browns fan or hear what another common Browns fan, another normal or super fan in your case, what they think about the team and what's going on at the current moment. So
those guys are disconnected, right? I mean, I'd rather hear from people that have an emotional attachment to the team that I love.
Even the ESPN beat writer for the Browns, like, you think he spends all his time around the Browns, so you probably don't even live here.
Only because his paycheck's coming from right now.
Yeah. So
I absolutely agree with that. I feel like anybody you can turn on your radio and kind of listen to they'll talk about kind of layups, not to make a baseball analogy, but just meatball topics. I've seen one earlier about the Browns have an issue at left tackle. Like, okay, I appreciate your 2 cents here, but I have eyes. I can see that also. I didn't need the expert analysis there to tell me, things I've already seen. But I think when you talk to actual fans and people who, the people who buy the tickets, not the people who get the press passes and all that, the people who buy the tickets and spend the hard-earned money, give you a more from the heart, in-depth analysis of things. And then there's always the hot take artists that say something stupid and you're like, oh, this will be fun to make fun of you.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we don't end up on the other side of that. On your page.
I've done a great job of that. Don't worry.
We say some dumb things, but no. So let's talk about the Browns a little bit. I mean, that's what we're all here for. So what do you think? Obviously 2 preseason games in and the entire offensive line is dead. But what do you think the Browns are going to do this season, and how do you see them finishing up in the AFC North?
I'm actually worried. First off, with the HBO in season division thing, because if this turns into a tire fire, I don't want to see it live. I don't want there to be record of us just watching it all go downhill. It's worrisome because $230 million later, we still are uncertain what's going to happen at the quarterback division or the quarterback position. Flacco's not here. It seems like all the production has come. I was a big Watson fan before the trade when he was in when he was in college, when he was drafted, obviously before all the off the field things. But when we traded for him, it might have been one of my happiest days as a fan. And since then, it's been downhill. I would love to see him be healthy, and at least for us to have a full rendering of what's going to happen with him moving forward. Because still now we don't know if he'll get an extension, if he'll be healthy, if he'll be any part of what he should have been, what we all hoped for, or at least what Andrew Berry and the ownership, the ownership group hoped for when they signed the check. So it's just, again, as a Browns fan, the most important position on the field is our currently most unstable. And everybody's now looking back, and we remember how little we appreciated Joe Thomas's Iron Man ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Deshaun, so do you have a best case scenario expectation for Deshaun? Obviously, there are a lot of good quarterbacks, not only in the AFC, but across the league at this point. Do you have a best case scenario expectation for, hey, if things all go right, he could be a top 10, top 15 guy?
If all things go right, it's hard, especially in the AFC, because there's a lot of great talent, and even more so, there's a lot of great young talent. Thankfully, all the new contracts have made his average per year a bit different. You know, everybody thought it was the worst contract. Now, since then, what is it? Just about every other quarterback has gotten paid, so it doesn't look as bad. But I'm hoping he turns out to be top 8 in our division. I feel that, plus what Schwartz has been able to do with this defense, completely reinvigorating the intensity and the fear factor you get on offense going against, you know what, I'll just say the best defense, because that's what it is. We have, you know,
statistically, you're not wrong. So
as much as Steelers fans are going to cry in their bowl of Cheerios about that, you know, the defensive player of the year, that's right, suck it, Watt. I love you, but not enough. It's the best defense. A healthy Chubb, great defense, at least average special teams. We have a kicker, guys. We don't have to play that game no more. And so Watson just has to essentially go out there and be game manager, but hopefully he's able to find himself at least a little bit, and he's able to, you know, show 70% of what he was. Because if you give me game manager with the upside that Watson could have, it's a scary team all around. And it's not just, hey, Watson, go out and save us. It's, all right, we have everything built around you perfectly. Watson, just don't screw it up and give us a couple magical plays here and there. You could be looking at easily a deep playoff run with everything going right. The nicest thing is, even in the down periods, Stefanski has been able to win with just about anybody at quarterback. Remember, we won a game with PJ Walker last year. A guy
that's true. The human turnover.
A guy who might end up being a 5th grade math teacher here in a year or two. So
yeah, we literally referred to him as the human turnover. So no, I will say this. So like your take on Deshaun Watson is I like the way that you even just approach talking about it, because it's kind of where I'm at, and it's so. You get one side or the other when it comes to Deshaun Watson most of the time. Like, you either get we hate him or we love him, and those sides will really defend that to the end. There's not a lot of people that are in the middle, and I like that you're just kind of taking it with, like, I want him to be good, but so far he hasn't shown us what's good. And I respect the fact that somebody that can be objective about it and just say, I'm just going by what he's shown us so far. Forget all the other stuff. What he's shown us so far is that he probably wasn't worth that $230 million, but we still have him under contract, so hopefully he can get better and continue to improve. And maybe in the end, if we make a run somewhere, it will be worth it.
And I think you're spot on with the rest of the team, right? And that's what's so frustrating, I think, is just about not knowing about Deshaun is, you know, obviously you've been through all the down years, right? You know, we've been the dumpster fire for a long time where just everything was bad. And it feels like for the first time, like, we're not waiting for that first round pick or this guy to come save us. Like, you have a team that is capable of winning a lot of games in this league. The only thing you're unsure about is, do we have a quarterback that could just be average?
Yeah.
The craziest thing, especially last season, is we went into last season. Same thing. Hopefully Watson can step up and show us at least what he can be at a max. I don't think he'll ever be what he should have been when he was drafted, or even with his time with the Texans. There was a time last season, which I don't like the fact that I'll have to admit this now on air, that I said that I love Joe Flacco. And there was like 15 years of my life, which is about half of my damn life, where I swore up and down I would drop kick him. Now I'm a 300 plus pound man. I promised Jesus himself I would dropkick that man if I ever met him. And now I said publicly that had he got us to the Super Bowl, I would have had his face tattooed on my rear end. So, things happen fast. Life happens a lot fast during a season.
That's real love.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about that is just it's not that he played great. He was just a spark plug. And with him, getting off the couch and jumping into the game, we were still able to be exciting and make a playoff run. So we look at it, we don't need spectacular at quarterback. If we're going to be honest, if we're all playing Madden, which I know football is not Madden, if we looked at it and we're like, oh, he had, Watson has played, 12 games over 2 years. It's a lot of wasted money. We would be trying to offload that contract in Madden. We'd be like, let's find a Tyrod or somebody to get us through till we find somebody else. But this is real money, and we can't just offload it. So we're hoping, I think as a Browns fan, you just have to hope the guy who's wearing our jersey, whoever suits up in orange and brown, at least goes out there and looks comparable to everybody else in the league. And I think he has a great athletic ability. He's obviously shown the ability to play the quarterback position in the NFL. He's capable of doing, that. He's a leader. Remember, Dabo called him Michael Jordan of the football field. So can we at least get great value version of what he should have been? I really hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how fun was that stretch though with Joe Flacco?
Oh man, you talk about being embarrassed that you're admitting that on air right now, but just go back and watch some of our episodes from last season and some of those segments where we talked about Joe Flacco.
It was like gushing.
Oh my gosh, it's like I agree with you. As much as I hated him when he was on the Ravens, I loved him so much when he played for the Cleveland Browns.
That guy ruined so many Sundays of my life.
Yeah, but last year was just in its entirety. Just the odds that were stacked against the Browns coming down the stretch, and the fact that Joe Flacco and Kevin Stefanski, I'll give him his props too. That those two men held that team together like they did, and just made magic happen week after week after week. And Jim Schwartz, I'll give it to Jim Schwartz too. So those three guys, it was literally magical.
Yeah.
So
hopefully they can capture some of that this year.
Jim Schwartz put on a masterclass of what you do defensively, at least for the next couple of years. Much like with the Legion of Boom and all great defensive things, people catch up. The ability of a great coach is to add ancillary and wrinkles into it, so you stay above, stay above the curve. Which Jim is easily top 5 defensive coordinators in the league, and he has been for a long time. So obviously he's able to do it. The funniest thing I can say about the Flacco run, which it's still weird to think it's the Flacco era, but it was 8 weeks.
Listen, real quick, Dewey, we refer to this time frame as the legend of Cleveland Browns quarterback Joe Flacco. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. If he will only make the NFL Hall of Fame because of his time here in Cleveland. Absolutely. I will say that right now. Nothing else before it mattered. It's okay. It's just like if you marry a stripper. Nothing else before it happened. None of it matters. You're here where you belong. That is the only jersey I care about. Even if it's a small patch on his bust that says Cleveland, I'm perfectly fine with that. But that time, remember, he just did the easiest thing. He was like, screw it. We're just going to throw the long ball, run the ball where we can. And hey, this guy named Njoku is pretty damn good at this thing we call football. And Amari Cooper, who knew this guy was great? He'll just go for 300 yards, completely carry the passing game, get screwed over by a ref by being out of bounds, quote unquote, 10 yards, not even close to the boundary. He just did the simple stuff. Hey, we got a good receiver, throw him the ball. Great tight end, throw him the ball. That's my only issue is always with Stefanski. He might try to outthink himself. And that was a nice thing with Flacco. Flacco was just like, screw that. We're just going to throw the ball to the big athletic tight end and the great wide receiver outside. Could you imagine that run had Nick Chubb been healthy? We would still be celebrating. Cleveland downtown would still be on fire from that Super Bowl run.
100%.
Oh yeah. So shifting gears here just a little bit. Well, I guess I don't think you ever told us, where do you think the Browns are going to finish in the AFC North?
Your record prediction?
See, this is perfectly. I just rant too much.
We do too. It's okay.
Record prediction. Oh, we're going to get to the thing where it all depends on, do we have a healthy Watson? You know what? Positive energy. Watson will play, 15 of the 17 games. We'll go
Hell yes.
12-5.
Manifest it right here. 12 and 5.
I like it. 12-5. That's strong. Do we win the division or what? How do we finish?
I think we'll have a very late. Well, who do we play last game? Is it the Ravens last? I think week 18 or something. But it will come down. I think the time is TBD. It will come down to one of them great face-offs where it's winner takes the division. Week 18, since we're putting positivity out there, might as well just make it that. It'll be us and the Ravens. Winner takes division, and winner might take division. And here, screw it, we'll throw caution to the wind. Winner takes division, and we'll definitely represent the division in the AFC Championship game.
Wow.
Oh,
I like that. That'll be a flex game in the prime time too. Browns Ravens.
Yeah, and to answer your question a little bit more, coming down the stretch, week 14 at Pittsburgh, week 14 at Pittsburgh, week 16 at Cincinnati, and week 18 at Baltimore.
Yeah. We're gonna go into week 18 with a must win against the Ravens for the division.
Nice.
I think 12.
I'm excited about football season.
I think 12 is a strong number, just because the AFC North is going to be competitive. I have a hard time believing there's going to be an AFC North team that wins 13 games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So now shifting gears, now that we know who you think is going to win the division here, it's the big talk. It's what everybody's been talking about around Cleveland as far as the team goes. We'll just ask it out front. Dome or lakefront?
Oh, the issue is, at heart, I know everybody would love to see the Browns stay on the lakefront. It is, for everybody who's not a Browns fan, will talk all the crap that they want and be like, oh, it's a mediocre franchise or whatever. It might be the most scenic view in all of Cleveland sports to just look out for, it might just be beer goggles, but look out from the Muni lot and see that beautiful, rather Madden generic stadium just plastered silhouette across the lake. But it might be my favorite view, to be absolutely wasted and look at that stadium and be like, that is us. That is Cleveland Browns is on the lakefront. Do I think it will stay there? No, I don't think there's a chance in hell, just because the political city stuff. I don't think the city itself wants it there anymore. They offer just enough to go back to the residents or Browns fans and be like, well, we tried, but I think we'll have a dome in Brook Park. As a Brook Park resident, I am absolutely fine with that. It
makes it a little bit easier to swallow, huh?
Oh yeah. Listen, I'm a fan of the newer business model. Like, you've seen many teams like New England and obviously the Cowboys, and even Green Bay do, where they build the stadium and then they buy up all the land around it. And the ownership group, that's how you can tell an ownership is now invested in the current and long-term future of the team, is because they're buying up stuff, adding restaurants and, hotels, and trying to get a Super Bowl there. They're now ingrained ideally into the culture of the city, the team, the fans, the people who love it. And I look forward to it. For everybody who talks what they want about the Haslams, if it happens and they build Browns Disneyland out in Brook Park, that will be their staying point of, this is our franchise. We're not going nowhere. The team isn't, going to be uprooted. If the furthest my team moves is to Brook Park, I'm fine with that. I don't even have to catch the Rapid at 5 a.m. in the morning to get wasted.
Yeah. No, and I like what you said about developing the whole area, because I think one thing that a lot of Clevelanders and just Northeast Ohioans in general don't understand is the city right now, to your point, is saying, This is just enough to make it look like we tried. And they're trying to paint the Haslams as unreasonable, or that they don't want to work with the city, or they're working against the city. But I think what's lost in all this is, regardless of if it's in Brook Park, with revenue sharing and everything else going into this, it's a huge investment in the entire region. And you've seen even bar owners downtown. I just saw this past week a whole group of bar owners downtown. They started taking pictures preseason week. They took pictures all the way up until the end of the first quarter. And they said, look, it's log jam down here. We can't even get patrons into our bars unless they're walking. It would, in which case, like, especially towards the end of the season, like, who wants to park and walk over here? So, a lot of the bar owners and restaurant owners in downtown Cleveland are even saying, if they go to Brook Park, it's close enough that everybody's still coming downtown before the games and hanging out and doing things. Maybe not everybody, but still a good portion of them. And then you have the people that aren't going to actually go to the game, that are going to sit at a restaurant or a bar and watch the game. Yeah. And that's where they come in, and those are filled instead of there being traffic and nobody's able to get in there because everybody's trying to get to the game. So there's this big contingent of restaurant owners and bar owners that are finally coming out and saying, look, Brook Park makes sense. Make it happen. And to your point, they all say the same thing. They say, we would love to keep them downtown, but it makes the most sense to move them out of downtown.
And two things real quick. So I love that we're talking about Brook Park. We just launched our Brook Park Browns merchandise today.
Yes.
So we have shirts and hats and things.
Brook Park football established 2029.
Brook Park is Brook Park. And I actually love what you said about the view, because this was kind of my hang up. The view of, it is classic, right? If Monday Night Football's in town and they're outside and they take the shots of the stadium and it's on a lake, it's just like, it makes Cleveland look like almost nicer than it is, like it's like,
not that it's not nice. It's great.
Like,
we love Cleveland,
but people that aren't in Cleveland have their perception of Cleveland, and it's kind of adds this whole dynamic of like, oh, Cleveland is a good place to live. It's cool. It's nice. This lake. It's great. And I've always been hung up on this, like, yeah, you're gonna have this cool dome, but like what's Monday Night Football going to drone fly over and see? Because it's just going to be Brook Park around this giant stadium,
I mean, they'll probably do what they do for like the Cowboys. They'll still fly over Cleveland, and then they'll come over and just get the stadium.
Fair enough.
So it is what it is. No, but we really appreciate your take on that. I think we're all kind of in the same line of thinking when it comes to the stadium. I mean, as ideal as it would be to keep it on the lakefront, it just doesn't make that much sense. And we all like shiny new things, and that's what the dome is going to be. And I think we're all excited about it.
It'll be nice to go to a game in a sweater and not have to bundle up with 3 blankets. And
yeah,
that was going to be my only other point. Was going to be for everybody who goes downtown and complains that it's cold, or that I don't want to wear a jacket, or I don't want to take my kids when the season matters, because yes, there's 3 feet of snow. We understand. We know, we've been here forever. You're holding on to, well, it's part of the elements. Before the Stefanski era, guess what, guys? We sucked in the elements.
Exactly.
So why not build Disneyland, via Browns, and completely, make a stadium that is made for the fans? Not, the NFL didn't rush and make a generic Lego brick by brick stadium on the lakefront. It's going to be something beautiful. I don't expect it to be as good as the video that they posted, but even halfway would be nice. You'll actually get, you can take your family and have Wi-Fi access and not hate your experience because you love a team. And for everybody who forgets how important money is to a city to help things around it, there was this guy from Akron who came back. His name was LeBron, and he was the greatest stimulus for the city of Cleveland downtown. Can you imagine what a successful playoff, a perennial playoff team Browns would be for the city of Brook Park, Parma, everything around it? It would be like the Roman the Roman Empire, just in Ohio. But it would be beautiful. And this is also coming from me who lives here. So It is what.
Fair.
I love the idea that the Brown Stadium is Mad Generic Stadium 3.
It's funny. I had never ever thought to describe it that way, but that's exactly what it is. It's like you go through Generic Stadium 3, Generic Stadium 4. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, because remember, the NFL rushed to build the stadium before we technically ever got the team back. They were just like, we know it's going to Cleveland. Quick, let's get it up. And it's been just kind of, Lincoln logs ever since. Every year, they're talking about, we need $100 million to fix this and fix that. How about we just build it right?
Right.
Agreed.
Right. And with that, we all could rant all day long about everything Cleveland Browns. But we are going to wrap this up. Listen, Dewey, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We really appreciate all the support you've shown us thus far. And good luck with everything that you're doing. I know you're going through some potential rebranding. You're going to be looking into new ventures yourself. So definitely good luck with all that. We'll be following along. But yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. We really appreciate it.
We'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate your time.
This
is Dewey Perry with the Cardiac Dogs podcast. You're listening to Burning River Sportscast. Go Browns.
Man, good talking to Dewey, huh? It's nice to see some of these just people that are big fans that want to kind of take it to the next level and really continue to promote the Browns and also build a brand for themselves.
First off, the dude's name is Dewey, which I love.
That's true.
It's a strong name.
Strong.
But yeah, he's built himself a really nice following on social media.
That's the only other Dewey I could think of. Both strong names.
I mean, just a funny guy, right? I mean, you can tell by talking to him, like that's the personality that people like. That's why they read his stuff. Like that's why they follow.
Right. I mean, yeah, he just gets the fans.
He's passionate about the game and the team, and he's a funny dude.
What a lucky SOB that he lives in Brook Park, huh?
Yeah, he's gonna be Brook Park. He's Brook Park.
I would be like that would be my hangout. I'd just be down by the stadium all the time.
Yeah.
Wild.
Well, if you don't want to go to the stadium, there's some really skeevy clubs the other direction.
I'll leave those to you. But that'll take us to Gassed Up.
Hey, Captain Taco. Oh, God. Have you been to Captain Taco?
No.
Have you ever been to Captain Taco?
No.
Oh, my God. Best taco restaurant in the country, probably.
Where is it?
In the
Brook Park.
Country.
Oh.
Just right on Brook Park Road.
I have to go.
Like if you get off like Tiedemann or West 150th.
I feel like we're wasting a lot of time.
This is going to be in the show. People need to know about Captain Taco. Head down towards like the car dealerships down.
Okay.
Like you're going down to the Rapid or wherever. Yeah, Captain Taco. It's a hole in the wall joint, and you'll have diarrhea for days, but it will be 100% worth it.
Captain Taco.
Captain Taco.
Get there. And that'll take us to Gassed Up.
What do we gassed up about this week?
All right, so let's remind everybody this is a segment where we like to vent about what's pissing us off in the world, or it could be something we're excited about. Just something we want to talk about that's getting us gassed up. Who are we going to start with? Who started last week?
Well, me and you started the last 2 weeks. Bone wasn't here.
Bone.
Heck, I can go. Yeah.
Bone, what are you gassed up about?
You know what? School started last week, and I was out of town for a little bit of it, but one of the days I got the girls off the bus, and I have a first grader and a fourth grader. They send these Chromebooks with the kids, and they don't keep them at school anymore. They have to bring them back and forth just in case there's a COVID thing again, I guess. So they have their tablets with them or their Chromebooks or whatever. But they come with these carrying cases and cords and blah, 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 and they weigh like 10 pounds. My first grader's like 40 pounds. She's carrying around a backpack that weighs 10 pounds with this Chromebook in it, plus, some other stuff, maybe a water bottle, whatever it is. It's literally a fourth of her weight. She gets off the bus and she's immediately like, Dad, can you carry this backpack for me? And I'm like, no. You need to carry your own backpack. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, this is literally 25% of her weight right here. Their schools are just making these kids just haul this stuff back and forth.
It'd be like asking you to carry sandbags back and forth.
It's just annoying. Just keep it at school.
I've got a theory.
Make the kids plug it in the back of the classroom and keep the Chromebook at school, especially for first, second, third graders.
Even in the event of COVID again or something weird like that, like a parent couldn't go to the school and get your kid's Chromebook.
Right. They copped out. They use it as an excuse to put it on the parents.
I've got a theory. This is how the school system, whatever school system you're a part of, this is how they're fighting childhood obesity.
Maybe. Yeah.
They did away with gym class.
Yeah.
But we make you carry.
We're gonna
heavy
make you
book
carry
bags.
these heavy book bags and
Yeah.
burn off all the calories that you're eating.
I think it's funny that we've reached the point where the kids have Chromebooks now.
Everybody does.
I mean,
Right.
like we didn't like that wasn't.
We
even-
grew up. We were in an era where not all schools had computers.
Like
and
if
now,
if you brought a laptop to school as a kid, they would be like, put that away.
like you can't.
take notes
That's not a
on a laptop.
learning tool.
It wasn't until like we got to college that like you started to get like a laptop. But like
Yeah.
high school, they would have been like, get away. You're not.
Oh,
like,
yeah, never.
That's just the internet now just teaches our kids.
They used to have like Chromebook carts.
The future.
Like schools would have Chromebook carts, and you would in class you would go get one, and you plug it back in. There's a whole cart full of them.
in your school.
This was in a different.
I never heard of a
this
school.
was I sub-taught for a year and a
there
2
we go.
years.
This was after
Yeah,
college.
yeah,
Yeah, it's after
yeah.
college, and this is like what they.
I thought you were
used to
talking
do.
about growing up. I was like, where the hell did you go to school? We went to the same
Pre-COVID.
school. How did
Yeah.
you?
Same class.
What the hell?
This is
Where was the
pre-COVID.
Chromebook cart when we were in school?
He was in the Chromebook class. We weren't allowed in that one.
We had the original Macs in our library with the colored backs.
Oh,
that you could
yeah.
see through, so
That was how you know your school had made it.
That's
we
why I
we carried a floppy disk with us to save our work.
That's
So,
where I learned
You're
iMovie.
speaking gibberish to
Yeah.
these younger kids. A floppy disk. What the hell is that?
That's where I learned iMovie.
yeah.
Yeah. Remember Ms. Lundgren's class, and we would just go roam the halls and make the craziest movies. I think we lost it. Yeah,
It was a time.
yeah.
But now the kids just live on these tablets, you know? It's like, that's life.
Kenny, what's getting you
Do,
guessed?
do they, hit, do
Oh,
they
no.
have also like other books, or is just like everything loaded into the Chromebook? Like it's all ebooks and stuff.
No, there's text. They
There's
do a
still
lot of
text.
print offs, so we get tons of paper.
It's a much
so not
more
only do they
efficient
have-
way to do textbooks.
So
I would
not only
say.
do they have a 10-pound book bag, they also have to carry some textbooks.
Sure, yes.
Nice.
I think they should
So
put
it could
all
be
of the
a 20-pound
textbooks.
book bag by the time.
It's heavy.
It's sad.
I mean, I was surprised.
If the school is getting Chromebooks, I think they should be like required to just put a digital copy of the textbooks on them.
Yeah, like,
so
why-
they don't have
they
to carry
might do
textbooks
that.
anymore.
Maybe they do
I
that.
mean, that would make sense.
That would make sense, right?
All your worksheets and everything should be
The only thing I will say is I'm actually a big proponent of not to use ebooks because there's a lot of studies that are done on how much better you commit it to memory if you're reading it off of a page for whatever reason.
That's true. I've seen the same thing.
Yeah.
My dad was always a fan of that. He's like, I
Yeah.
want paper.
I'm a big reader in my free time, which I don't have much of now because now I run Burning River Sportscast, but and Tablet Media. But when I do have free time, I like to read, and I always have to have a hard copy of the book. I can't do e-readers.
Well, because so much of like what we consume digitally is like transient, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not like super paying attention to it. You're reading it, but you're not like committing it to memory. It's just like you read because you need to see it or whatever. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, Kenny, what's getting you gassed up?
Gassed up. I gotta tell you guys, October 12th, get me gassed up.
October 12th.
So for those that
Oh,
aren't
yeah.
aware,
Yeah.
October 12th, this is said to be essentially like the holy day of college football this year. Matchups between Ohio State and Oregon, Ole Miss at LSU, Penn State at USC, Florida at Kentucky, Florida at Tennessee, Kansas State at Colorado, and Texas at Oklahoma.
Oh,
Well, what this has led to is the inevitable conversation about people having weddings in the fall. And I just happened to catch a bit on local radio, and these guys were acting like a fall wedding was like the biggest hurdle to their lives. Like, how dare anyone have a fall wedding? Look, I had a fall wedding, so maybe I'm overly sensitive to
too.
this. 2018, it was the same night as the Ohio State Penn State game. Do either of you remember who won that game?
no.
2018,
I think Penn State.
probably Penn State.
Ohio State won.
Oh, see, we didn't.
Does anybody remember how Ohio State finished that year in 2018?
2018, they
Was that the
probably
year
went
they
to the
sucked?
national championship.
They didn't even make the college football playoff.
Oh,
Do
they
you remember
didn't
what
make
bowl game they played in?
No, because as soon as they don't make the college football
Clemson.
playoff,
They
nobody
played
cares.
Clemson and beat them.
They beat Washington in the Rose Bowl. So, on all counts, like
And we're pretty big Ohio State fans.
on all counts, like that game against Penn State in a meaning of life
Didn't mean anything.
meant so little. And like we had a bar at our wedding, and so people were like checking in, and I was a little annoyed to like people, but I understood like people want to check it. But it was people that hung out in the bar all night that annoyed me. You want to check in, check the score here and now, but it's like I don't know, what do we pay? Like $80 a couple for your food for the night, and you guys are hanging out in a bar all night, like plus your alcohol and stuff. Like if it is too much to ask of you to come support someone that you love,
a friend or a family member,
on the day that they make the biggest decision, the biggest commitment of their entire lives. Because you want to watch like you can keep your $40 in your envelope that you were going to give me because I paid $80 for you to come and just stay home. Like it just rubbed me the wrong way that like we're even equating like the equivalency of a football game and a marriage on the same level. Like maybe that's why over half of marriages end in divorce, because we think of them as the same as Penn State, Ohio State.
Less than.
It's the same as a marriage.
Less than.
You guys, like, are you?
The marriage is less
get
than.
Get off
football.
your high horse about this. Like, when you're planning your wedding, the last thing you're thinking about is like, what's the football schedule? And like, look, I love the Browns and I love Ohio State. And when Ohio State wins that championship, it's great and I celebrate. It's like the coolest thing ever. But like, we're talking about marriage, like a lifelong commitment to another individual that is the most important decision you ever make. And you're there supporting them because you're a close family member or friend, someone that loves this couple. And you're going to sit there and talk about how inconvenienced you are to have to do that. Like, you're just a shit human being. Like, really, a real shit human. And these are guys that are on the radio every day, local in Cleveland.
You guys are pieces of crap.
If you were equivalating marriage to a football game, I'll say it one more time. You were a real shit human being.
And you probably get gassed up about. I agree. I agree.
Really rubbed.
I've actually heard this conversation quite a bit lately too, and I'm like everybody posts a thing like, just remember the Browns are about to start, so don't when you're thinking about booking any funerals. Like they literally list everything. It's like seriously,
like I hate to
life in general. Like I hate to burst everyone's bubble, but life in general, like your family, your friends, far more important than the Cleveland Browns will ever be. I love the Browns. I'm a diehard Browns fan. But if I had to choose between my wife and the Browns, between you guys and the Browns, it's always going to be not the Browns.
So I feel like it's just like you can. I hate to DVR a Browns game, right? Because you always kind of hear
it always gets ruined.
But like you can't DVR marriage.
No.
Like, the things that we remember from that day aren't the score of the game or what the Buckeyes did that season. We remember, like, you puking at my reception.
Yeah, that was...
And my other group has been puking at the reception.
I was going to say, I don't remember.
We all had too good of a damn time.
I don't remember much of your wedding. I was wobbling in the actual, like, when you guys were having the ceremony.
But, like, those are the memories you hold on to, right? Like, it was a blast.
Did you guys get your wedding video too, or is it just pictures?
No, it's
a good thing there's no video because I was standing behind you just like.
The one thing I kind of regret is we didn't do a video.
Me and Carl, our other buddy Carl, both we were just wobbling behind you. So,
but anyway, that's my point.
Big Lou went down.
Big Lou did go down. But that's my point.
Is like those memories of that was what was that night was all about.
Do you think it's okay to tell Big Lou's story? Nobody knows who that is. So Big Lou, after your wedding, when they got back to his house, his wife told us a story about how he just got out of the truck and just started stripping his clothes. He's just like throwing clothes all over the lawn. And by the time he got inside, there's a pile of puke and clothes all over the lawn. And he's just inside passed out.
I mean, we almost couldn't take pictures after the ceremony because you guys were all so stupid drunk.
Oh, man, I almost wrecked a golf cart.
Yeah, they weren't going to let us take the golf carts because you guys were all inebriated.
And I insisted that I drove. Because what's the worst that could happen, you know?
No, you just spilled beer all over the bridesmaid and yourself. It was fine.
She was...
anyway.
She enjoyed it.
October 12th. This got me gassed up.
That's a good thing to be gassed up.
Superb day of college football.
Yeah.
Don't plan your wedding for that day.
All right. And so what's getting me gassed up is time. There's never enough of it. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but we're running this podcast. We're running Tappan Media. We have our own family lives, everything else going on, and there's just never enough time. And I know we've talked about it, and we're team no sleep, so it doesn't, we have more time than most. But even still, you always run out of it. You always run out of it, and there's never enough. And it just pisses me off because it's always like literally everything I'm doing. It feels like all day long, nonstop. I'm like, if I just have 5 more minutes to work on this one thing, it'd be done. But I don't, so I just move on to the next thing, and everything's never done.
There's never enough
never
time.
Done. There's never enough time.
And you know what's really a bitch?
Most of it doesn't matter. Like family stuff does, but I'm saying like my work stuff, even stuff with that. Like honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not gonna matter.
Like time doesn't even really exist though. Like if you go fast,
Time is a social construct.
like it's just our way to measure like an event happening to another event. But like in the universe, time really isn't even
Fun
a thing.
Theory of relativity, you could actually prove that, because if, like, say you had a watch, like me and you timed our watches the same.
Or an airplane?
Yeah, like we timed them up, and then I went in an airplane and just went around
time
the Earth.
differently.
And you stayed here. They'd go different.
What does that mean?
That's wild.
Time doesn't even exist.
It doesn't exist.
It's just a social construct.
Man, fuck time. And that's what I'm gassed up about, because then it spins me into conversations like this and thoughts like this where I just don't even know what the hell is going on.
And that's when we need Bone, because we don't know what Christians do.
We don't know what Christians do. But anyways, let me remind you to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline.
Say hotline.
Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. Remember, these are hot takes. We want hot takes. We want hot takes. We want hot takes. 330-227-8080.
I drive a Dodge Stratus. 330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080. Call now. Operators are not standing by.
Nope.
Not one. And be sure to check out our gear, www.thetappingmedia.com/shop.
So much new gear. River gear.
Get it all. Buy it all. Buy it. Buy it. Buy it.
Brook Park.
Buy it.
Brook Park Browns gear.
Yeah, and that'll do it for us. What can we expect next week, Kenny?
Next week, is it already here? Is it our season preview show?
It's next week.
So we are going to be on site at Towpath Distillery with John Hughes, Frank Stamps, Bridget Litton, having a kick-ass time. This party is going to be so fucking lit. You're going to wish you were there if you weren't. So get your tickets. Hide your wives, hide your kids. Everybody's getting drunk. And then we'll talk about basically our predictions and our projections for what this Brown season is going to look like. And I will just get totally obliterated.
Absolutely. And check us out on social media. Tapping Media is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Tapping Media. And Burning River Sportscast, that's this podcast, is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Burning River Sportscast, and on X at Burning River Pod. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Podcast, Castro, Good Pods, and so many more. Do you know that takes us to Kenny?
Facts for days.
What do you got for us?
Just a couple of quick facts.
Let's hear them.
I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Oh,
No, I don't.
you're so established.
Not fact.
But here's a fact for you. 1 in 18 people, it's a pretty significant number,
Yeah, that's a lot.
experience something called polythelia,
What is that?
which, if you're not sure, means you have a third nipple.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. And many of these nipples are like quite vestigial. They don't like work real good, or they're like, some of them are invisible on top of your skin, but they're under your skin.
Okay. Yeah.
Others are a fully working mammary gland that you could
Is that what you have?
milk out of. Yeah, maybe.
You got nipples? Can we milk you?
You got nipples, Greg. Can we milk you? No, so I just thought that was a pretty, like, there's a lot of people that have a third nipple. That's
a lot.
Yeah. So check your nipples, because you may not even know. You may be polytheliac and you don't even know.
Check your nipples, check your wives.
Number 2. Man is just a crazy thing that happened to this world.
What is?
Man.
Yeah.
Humankind.
Yeah. Fair.
We're getting pretty good at, like, Punnett squares.
Those are good.
What was that?
Oh, yeah.
Gregor Mendel.
Yeah.
Punnett squares.
Yeah.
Mixing things like broccoli,
Yeah.
like that didn't exist.
Yeah.
There exists a cow-bison hybrid.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And in 21 states in the U.S., you can purchase beefalo meat.
Whoa.
I've heard of beefalos. I didn't know you could purchase beefalo meat, though.
Beefalo.
Don't they basically make bigger cows so there's more meat?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beefalo.
It's a beefalo. I wasn't surprised.
I'm not sure like why a fast food chain hasn't picked this up yet. Like it's a
We've got the beefalo burger.
beefalo burger.
Can a beefalo and a beefalo have a baby?
I don't know what Christians do. No.
I don't know the answer to that.
I would assume. I mean, they're living animals, right?
Okay.
So I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That could be facts for days next week.
To look up how we're beefalo.
Can beefalo mate?
Beefalo mate. I'd assume they can.
Sometimes they make these things and then they can't actually reproduce after.
That's true. Maybe they can only
I'm putting money on it. I bet beefalo can't reproduce.
Maybe they can
At least with each other. Maybe a beefalo can reproduce with a cow, though.
Maybe they can only self-pleasure themselves.
Autofellatio.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one,
Got it.
Yeah, we can do that. Number 3. This is the one you're gonna take with you.
I'm listening. I've forgotten more facts for days than most people have ever heard.
Firefighters. Heroes. Firefighters. Heroes like our own Bone Man.
Yeah.
I'd
choose Bone Man first, though. He's in the top 3% of
CrossFitters in the country, yeah.
In the world.
He would not drown.
In the world.
He would not drown.
Not fact.
Anyway, firefighters.
Listening.
Use wetting agents to make their water wetter. These chemicals reduce the surface tension of plain water, so it's easier to spread and better soaks into objects, creating what is commonly called wet water.
Ooh.
Which finally allows us to answer the burning question.
Burning River.
Is water wet?
Yes, but not as wet as it could be.
Wow.
Yeah. It has to be wet if you can make wet water.
Yeah.
But this is a question science has been unable to answer for a long time.
Do you think firefighters don't like our show because we're Burning River?
I would like to think that that's,
Water under the bridge.
water under the bridge. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nothing on the is water wet. You don't have.
No,
most people are pretty passionate one way or the other about whether water is wet.
I just always
I
assumed
get
the water
wet
was
when
wet.
I get in it.
Why would it not be wet? I don't understand the argument of water's not wet.
Well, because you have like cohesive and adhesive. Like water would make you wet, but water
Itself is not
is
wet?
not wet. If it adheres to you, you would be wet.
Then I'm wet. The water's not wet.
But the water's not wet. The water is what makes you wet. But other people would be like, of course water's wet. But if the water is wet water, it has to be wet, right?
Yeah.
So I think science...
The wet water is the only one that's settled. The science is settled on wet water. It is definitely wet.
Yeah. And that's facts for days, boys.
What do you think about that, Bone?
I think they're just fiddling with our language.
Fiddling. Oh, fiddlesticks.
I don't know. I will say bon appetit.
Don't be a part of the problem. Be the whole damn problem.
And only you can prevent river fires. Burning River Sportscast. Burning River. We did the exact same inflection. Burning River Sportscast.
Don't have your wedding on October 12th.
Don't do it. Unless you want to, then go ahead. And if you're my friend or family, I'll still be there.
Selfish ass.
Burning River Sportscast.
Burning River. Burning River. Burning River.
River.
Do we got a song? We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't start it, but we didn't start it.
Does anybody know the words to that song? I don't know.
Did it burn, silver did turning.
Good night, Cleveland.
Quiet on set.
I now have two loves in my life. Big city living and a voodoo woman named Phyllis.
So put your right foot in and take your right foot out. Then put your right foot in and shut the hell up because it's not time for the hokey pokey. It's time for the Burning River Sportscast.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboat son of a bitch. You old sailor, you.
You know what I was thinking during that interview?
What were you thinking? Nothing because you don't have thoughts because you're a brainless idiot.
Wow.
My name is Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
By the way, I want my foreskin back.
Women's Guide to Anal Sex, and it was the second edition. Who makes the second edition?
The weather outside is weather.
The other one, the finger eating food fingers.
Oh my God! My ass is full of shit! He's shit everywhere!
Yes.
Ejaculate all over my body and my genitals.
Yes.
Oh no! We suck again!
You don't need fundamentals when you got heart.
and Jesus.
And Jesus.
That's right.
Touchdown.
Number
Anyways,
one.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
it's going down. I'm
yelling
yelling timber.
Goddamn jets.
Are we gonna?
You're only in this city.
Should we start a meat podcast of like
the meat pod?
slow roasted?
The leads are weak. Leads are weak. Fucking leads are weak. You're weak.
that we should send a team of oil core drillers a la Armageddon to Mars to have them access the newly discovered reservoirs of water trapped 7 to 12 miles under the surface that, when released, will cover the entirety of everything on the planet, less than a mile high.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Erroneous on both counts. Oh, Lord.
I mean, last year when I won and went home, my wife's pants hit the ground.
Wow.
But damn!
Well, I'm sorry, I hijacked your segment for a second to do some good podcasting.
You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name.
I think we've officially lost all of our more conservative viewers. So I don't think they want to listen any longer.
This is it's Mother Nature.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Where's Logo Girl when you need her?
I desperately want to make love to
This cheese
We
girl.
need Cheese Girl now.
Down goes Anderson! Down goes Anderson!
Who's canceled now? Who's canceled now?
Probably me.
You making fun of fat people?
I'm not. Just you.
We're a whole race, basically.
No way. You just finger bang their salad. What?
You first get shocked, and then you get the shocker.
Hey, you like to see homos naked? That's cool, man. Whatever. No.
Most people, they're driving along and they're in between meals. They're like, I'm a little hungry. I'm going to have a granola bar. And he's like, I need a cheeseburger.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you were here?
Browns fans, come party with Cleveland Browns legends Josh Cribbs, Kevin Mack, and Joe Hayden. True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns, is hosting premium trip packages for Browns fans to Las Vegas, New Orleans, Denver, and DC. Everything is taken care of. Flights, hotels, tailgate, game tickets, transportation, food, drinks, everything that's important to Browns fans. Visit truefantravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package. That's truefantravel.com.
Today's episode was brought to you by Towpath Gin. Towpath Gin, a true craft American gin made in its own style. A blend of 9 botanicals brings a moderate amount of juniper with a citrus backbone. Layers of 7 other botanicals shine through for this incredibly well-balanced and high-quality small batch. Available locally in Northeast Ohio and online in 46 states. Towpath Gin.